Welcome to Xbox Infinite. How you doing, guys? We are live. I was fully expecting everyone to start yelling and stuff because they were talking about the background. I got a couple of announcements before I do introductions. First one's a bit of a sad one. Unfortunately, a friend of the show, Sasson Looper, has been very, very sick and is not doing so well. So if you're on Twitter and you have her on your friends list, or look her up, guys, send her some love. She is an absolutely amazing person and a great gamer, and we feel for her. Now, moving on to the second announcement. Congratulations to Umbra for getting a permanent spot on Boom's Xbox. Umbra, what's the name of it? The Xbox
Factor.
Xbox Factor. Yeah, sorry, I've got a memory like a sieve. So congratulations to you, mate. That's awesome news. And Umbra will let you know when I go to his introduction when you can see it, when you can find him. If you're not already watching Boom, I assume most of you already are. And now let's get to the introductions. We've got returning guests this week for an interesting week of news. Some really interesting stuff happened related to gaming, but also not really related to gaming. Shouldn't be related to gaming. Meshing around. Welcome back to the show, man. It's great to have you in. We had a great time last time you were here, and so we've got you back, especially on this week when they've released FSR 2.0, so it should be an interesting topic to talk about. How you doing, man? What have you been playing, and how's your week been?
Good. A little bit of Control. Starting up that Outriders again. That DLC's coming out. That's about it. Just going around. I mean, a little bit of Gears here and there.
Always a bit of Gears.
But no teabagging because I don't want any sexual assault charges. You know?
We're already getting into it. It's craziness. Absolute craziness. Is ridiculous. Mr. Bushido, welcome back to the show, man. How's your week? How you been doing? How was your podcast? And what have you been playing?
Yes, some things are better left unsaid. So I have been playing. I'm telling you, I hate it when people copy me, but I can't help it now. I start to understand that that's just how it's going to be. I've been playing Outriders. I've been playing some of the Control DLC because I didn't finish it. I've been playing. A lot of Fall Guys. I mean, a lot of Fall Guys. So.
That is a crazy game. It's good fun.
Mate, you and me both.
Absolutely. It's hilarious, eh? It is hilarious. So moving on, Doom Cutie, welcome back to the show. Our prettiest panel member. How you doing? How's your week? How you been?
Oh, Risk It. You know how to make my weekend. Thank you. Hey, lovelies. Welcome in chat. Welcome, everyone. What have I been up to this week? What have I been gaming? Well, I did some streaming at the beginning of the week. I've been really enjoying playing The Sims, actually. Really enjoyed that on Sunday. I've been very, very frustrated with Fall Guys. I'm actually terrible at that game. So no one invite me to play unless you want to hear a lot of screaming, basically. Because yes, my poor controller, I was gripping it very, very tightly. So 10 out of 10. Do not recommend. To invite me, that is.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love the game. Having a great time. Grabbing Pete at the finish line and holding on to him for as long as I can. Pete, how you doing, man? Welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been playing? I know you got a new phone, so you're excited about that. And I know you've been playing Fall Guys. What else have you been playing? How's your week been?
Yeah, good. Yeah, awesome. Looking forward to this. Great to have Tech Talk back. Hashtag messing around. It's always good having a returning guest. Means we're doing something right, although don't know why he would grace us with his presence again. Congratulations to Umbra. I know you're a huge fan of Boom, and yeah, that's just amazing, mate, to get a permanent spot, and you deserve it, brother. I think you're going to be a massive asset to that show. Doomy, always great chopping up with you. I have actually been getting back into Sniper Elite 5, which, I sort of neglected a little bit while Fall Guys came out. So yeah, really loving that. I'm up to chapter 6 now. So no spoilers, please. And I've just been playing a ton of Fall Guys with everyone and having a little bit of a laugh. And because I said I would, we played Among Us last night, and we changed our names to various versions of Dick. So there was Crooked Dick and Phallus stick. and
Wait. There's
Nancy
different
dick.
versions. What?
So we were all a bunch of dicks running around, and it was great fun. And going off that, we are having a gaming night/day straight after the show, and we'll all be jumping into Among Us. So please feel free to join us.
Absolutely. I may even make it to that one. Umbra, mate, you've obviously had a fantastic week. It's always great to have you back, man. And how's your week been? What have you been playing? What else is going on?
The week has been solid. I've been playing the same thing you guys have been playing. Fall Guys. Well, actually, I've been playing much more than you guys. I've been playing everything, so a lot. But Fall Guys has been the most consistent. I got the Asura's Wrath on BC right now. I'm loving that right now. So I'm going to get all the way through that. Thank you guys, by the way, for the nice, and warm congratulations and such, and everybody in the chat as well. Thank you all for coming through. And thank our two guests, Tech and I guess Bushido. No, and I want to send love to Assassin Lupa too. She is a great community member, and I feel heartbroken about what she's going through right now and her family as well. So all love to her, and everybody send her your prayers. And just ready to chop it up with you guys today.
Absolutely, yeah. It's pretty terrible, and yeah, it definitely hit me in the feels. But she's a solid community member, an absolute champion, and if you've ever had a chance to jump in a party with her, she's an absolute barrel of laughs. So hopefully she recovers soon. And again, congratulations to you, Umbra. If you're just joining us, please hit the like button, please hit that subscribe button, share us out if you're new here. Tell your friends about us, bring some people in. We have a laugh every week talking games. I've actually completed 3 games this month. Last month, since it's ticked over to the new month. I completed Alan Wake, and I completed Turtles Shredders, and I sort of completed Gears. Got really upset when they added an extra 20 missions from the DLC, and I finished the game, and then I was like, 20 missions! I just finished it. So sort of finished it, sort of haven't. So I'm still grinding away at that. It's got to be done. Look, we'll jump into the first topic of the week. And look, we're not going to get to the controversial topic straight away. We'll go to the Xbox handheld. There's been rumors, Jess Corden speculated on Xbox 2 that there is an Xbox handheld in development. Now, listen, I'll go to the panel on this one, but my personal feeling is I don't think we're going to see Xbox do this. It doesn't make sense for the brand. It doesn't make sense for what they're trying to achieve. And I personally just this week got a Backbone. Backbone is a gaming control pad that attaches to your phone. And that, to me, is an Xbox handheld. You can jump straight in Game Pass and play on the cloud. I have been, and it's been great so far, so I don't see the reason nor the need for an Xbox handheld. Umbra, do you see an Xbox handheld coming out from Xbox anytime soon?
I wouldn't put it past them. You never know. I'm hearing a lot of speculation, and I'll say this: I don't think that, Jess keeps bringing that up for no reason. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. So I think for him to continuously mention that, and he's been saying this for at least 3 months that I know of. I think there might be some validity there. I don't know if there's already R&D on it as far as things go, but you never know. I don't want to rule out anything without any specific proof of anything. And I think it makes sense for Microsoft to do so if they can't work out something specific with either Nintendo, which might be something fans might not like, or maybe they will accept it, or if they can't work out something with the Steam Deck with Steam to actually get the app running on there natively. So I don't know. I'm not sure one way or another. I would say I would be for it if it had the specs of, let's say, an Xbox Series S, which I think they could probably do. Looking at what Valve did with the Steam Deck, I don't think it's too out of the realm of possibility. And imagine that with maybe a terabyte worth of info that you could save to the handheld itself. That would be pretty dope, I think. So I don't know, man. I'm not too sure one way or another, but I would not rule it out.
Yeah, just to give you a native experience, I could kind of see that, but I personally I don't think it's worth their time and money on the development. Meshing around, do you think we'll see a handheld coming from Xbox? Do you think it makes sense for their brand, what they're trying to achieve?
I mean, can you guys hear me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my thing, right? They have the Series S and they have the, Series X. So if they did do a handheld, especially with the Samsung thing that they're doing, I mean, it would kind of divide everything. Maybe a few years down the line, but like, I agree. I don't think Jez is missioning it for no reason at all. He knows something. He's just, I think he's trying to get a poll of how people feel about it, so he can tell whoever is, whispering in his ear. And so I don't know, because Sony does not have a handheld. Nintendo does, which means that their handheld would most likely be more like a Switch that you could dock and undock instead of just like a Steam Deck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jez does know people, and he would know things. So yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. For me, it doesn't make sense. If as a hardcore gamer, it doesn't make sense. Maybe in the Asian market, it might be more of a thing. Maybe that's what they're looking to bring.
First, I'll risk it. Does Xbox need a handheld? One for yes, two for no.
Absolutely. We'll go to Mr. Bushido. Mr. Bushido, do you think that we'll be getting a handheld from Xbox? Do you want it? Do you need it?
Well, I'm a greedy tech guy. So if you give it to me, I'll buy it. If you give me a newer Xbox One X 2.0 with a higher GPU and was it like a 3080 graphics capability for $750? Yeah, I'm buying it. I'm just saying that's me. I'm greedy when it comes to tech. I don't. Oh, the other thing I want to say too is I like to go before Umber from now on, because he likes to steal my answers, and most of what he said he stole from me. So
he's copying me.
It has begun.
He's let's be clear. He's copying me. He wanted to say what I say. He wanted to say I agree with Umber, but he just could not bring himself to say it.
I don't know if I could agree with that, but all right. I would like one, but I don't see it. I think the de facto, like Umber said, unfortunately I hate to repeat it like that. But I think the de facto will be the Steam Deck. I think that maybe down the line, but I really can't see it. I can to a degree, but there are other things that are in place now where it almost makes it unnecessary, where xCloud or whatever they call it now, you could use that on your phone. You could even use it where the screen has the controls on it. It just doesn't really seem like something that they really be into right now. But like I said, if it came, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd want it. But for the most part, yeah, I think that's it. I think that, yeah, I'm gonna steal my answer.
Copy that.
I'll pose this question to you then. If you don't want a handheld, what would you prefer to see? A handheld or a Oculus device, VR device? I don't want either. I would rather Xbox focus on making games. I think that's what they need to do. I think that's what they're doing, and I think the way they go about it is the right way, by allowing third parties to make most of their devices for them.
Yep.
So implementing Game Pass into Samsung TVs is a great initiative. The backbone devices that you can put straight onto your phone and then basically turn into a handheld, I think that's the way to go, instead of wasting their time on hardware. That's my personal opinion.
No, I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely. I think I'm with you, Pete, on that. Just, it was a great question to bring up. Should they go into that VR market? And I personally would like to see a VR headset from Xbox. So if it's between a handheld, which I don't think they need with the advent of cloud, and between a VR, I'm going to pick VR every time. And so, look, we'll move on to the next topic, and it is a bit of a big one, and a few people have talked about it this week, but it hasn't been massively focused on, and it is going to be something that massively affects the industry, and not just Xbox, but also PlayStation, and PC, even Xbox Ones, the old generation. FSR 2.0 has released into dev kits. And it is now available for them to put into games. Look, I'll go to meshing around on this in a minute, but from what I understand, FSR 2.0 is actually able to work on the older systems, and it's so easy to implement because it's software. It's a very software based. It's not based on machine learning. That devs can implement it in their games, older games now, and it can be done within 2 weeks to a week. Now, I don't know if that's true, but look, I'll go to you. Tech Talk, meshing around, and if you could just explain to the guys what FSR is, what you think it's going to do for the industry, why is it a good thing? Why is it a great thing? Why should everyone be excited about FSR 2.0?
So, Fidelity Super Resolution, was called by AMD, is a competitor to DLSS, and what we're finding is it's better than native, but not as good as DLSS, but it doesn't require the machine learning cores of the DLSS GPU. So of the NVIDIA GPU. So the way that it breaks down is, so I'm going to go with post-processing effects. So post-processing effects are, when you get shot in a game and the screen turns red, or, the depth of field slider, or, you get shot in the game and there's an arrow that tells you where that person is. All those things are post-processing effects. And so combined, and there's more to it than that, but combined, let's say it takes 5.5 milliseconds of frame time out of the 16.67 milliseconds that you would have in a 60 FPS title. So that's 16.67 milliseconds per frame that the developer has to get everything in. If it's outside of that 16.67, it's no longer a 60 FPS game. Okay, so basically, if it takes 5.5 milliseconds for post-processing, which is...
Sorry, Tech Talk, how long is it for a 120 hertz game if it's 16 for 60? About
8.3.
8.3 or something. Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, 8.33. So and so what happens is... What was I saying? So the resolution is directly tied to something like post-processing. So at 4K, if it's 5.5 milliseconds, at 1440p, it may be half that. You know what I mean? So if you're rendering at an internal resolution, if you drop the resolution to 1440p, now you're regaining some time. And then FSR at quality mode for, let's say for the Series X, it's only going to take up about 0.06 milliseconds. So you're taking some of that time back, and you can use that time to do other things. You know what I mean? So that's going to free up things, especially like for Series S, where now you were at 1080p before. Quality mode in FSR is 1.5 times. So that brings you up to 1440p while saving that frame time. So you could see how it can affect a lot of different things now that they have more time and they don't have to turn down settings and turn down effects as much to regain that time. Now they can focus on chopping at the resolution while bringing it back up and being better than native. So you're going to see, more Series S games that are going to, be crappy now. You're going to see more Series X games where smaller dev teams will actually be able to pull something out of it, and then there's even rumors going around that RDNA, that the next, mid-gen refresh and then the RDNA cards are going to have a machine learning component, and they're going to take advantage of the next tier of FSR, which, if you remember, Xbox has machine learning, Xbox Series X and S has machine learning hardware. So that's what I'm excited for.
So what you're saying is they might next level this software technology by adding machine learning to it and running it like it's a DLSS on the consoles that can handle it.
Oh yeah, because they have it's not like the DLSS model, but it's close enough. So it can get that machine learning on the hardware with mathematical calculations on the compute shader, and it can actually take advantage of that next level. And so right now, FSR has a disadvantage with certain motion vectors or whatnot. With things in motion, certain things will break up. And so machine learning can solve that.
Yeah, particle effects don't look great. Things like explosions, hair isn't really done that well as well. So I wanted to actually ask you, since we've got you on here, Tech Talk. So if you're using FSR, do you have to use it for everything, or then can you just use normal anti-aliasing like for, say, your particle effects, or is it a one-size-fits-all thing where it has to be implemented across the board?
I believe it is a one-size-fits-all thing because AMD was saying it replaces the temporal anti-aliasing solution. So you would get rid of the TAA and use FSR, which would be better for that task.
And that is a little bit of a problem that they're having at the moment, especially with things like with particle effects, explosions, hair, where it's not. It doesn't look great when it's implemented. And if you guys watch the Digital Foundry video, they did a really good video about where they were comparing Deathloop.
So the devs, if I could speak to that for a moment, it's a temporal solution, and temporal means time. So basically, it has to have input from the previous frame and the next frame. And what AMD has said is that when you're utilizing something like DRS, for example, if you took a resolution hit and it's taking that data from that previous frame at a lower resolution, and then your next frame jumps to high resolution, the data that it's going to have is going to be somewhere in between. And that's where you get the breakup and the hair issues and moire and things of that nature. So the developer really has to feed it good quality data and make sure that things are stable at the forefront. And this is coming from AMD, so
It is early in its lifespan. I expect all these things to be worked out once devs get their hand on it and they can give their, responses back to AMD. So I do think that they will be fixed. And in a broad sense, I think FSR is going to be a game changer because, like you said, the LSS needs those NVIDIA GTX graphics cards because of it needs actual special silicone in the chip to be able to use it, whereas FSR, and the great thing about it, can be used on pretty much all types of GPUs going back, 10 years or so. You can basically implement this across the board, which should mean that it will be heavily implemented and heavily used, and the more people that use it, the more successful it will be.
It's already twice as fast as DLSS right now.
Can I ask a question real quick? I've noticed I did a little reading on it earlier this week. I've noticed that the PS5 isn't anything stated on whether it'll get it or anything. Is there anything precluding it from being able to operate it? Is it just software based?
No. You can absolutely, definitely implement it.
Yeah, it's a fully software based solution. So yeah, it could be used. It could be used on the Xbox One. I mean, you could probably take it back to the Xbox 360. I guess if they wanted to implement it. That's kind of how all covering the technology is. So it means that we're very basically what it means is that we're going to be getting games that were running maybe at say 1080p 60. They can now run at 1440p 60, or they can run at 1080 120. Or that's my understanding of it. Tech, would that be on the mark there?
As far as the oldest GPU I saw them list, I believe, was an RX 580, which is about equivalent to an Xbox One X. But it doesn't mean it can't run on Xbox One, and that's just what I've seen, But if it were running at 1080p, and quality mode is like 1.5 times, and then balance I believe is 2 times, so 1080p times 2, that's 1440p. So what times 1.5? I'm sorry, it's 1440p. So And it is. We're running at 1080p, 14. That's what I was saying. Series S, a 1080p game is now a 1440p game if implemented correctly.
Yeah, and if they can put those resources into frames per second or into resolution, did I get that right? Because I was reading on it this week.
Yeah. Instead of having to turn all the settings down, that helps mitigate that problem.
Yeah, you could definitely do that as well, and keep the resolution to keep the frames up. But yeah, it's what is really going to come is when all of this stuff comes together. All the other features come together, and then you have the FSR being the cherry on top. I can't wait for something like that. Your RT at, say for instance, your RT at 1440p 60. Now you could do potentially at a balanced mode. RT at a higher unlocked frame rate, or you could possibly get up to like 1600. P or something like that. So it just all depends on the frame savings and where it falls in line with the goals. Especially
the proof's going to be in the pudding, isn't it? Tech Talk. Like, we're not actually really going to know until we see it implemented. But from everything they've shown so far, I do think it's going to be a bit of a game changer.
Oh, it's going to be, like I was saying before, it's been implemented twice as fast as DLSS already. Like I was watching, there's so many studios on board. All the Bethesda studios have signed on with AMD Super Resolution. Every single Xbox game studios has signed on, and PlayStation studios have signed on as well.
So if NVIDIA uses machine learning with its, so you basically need to be using their graphics card, their hardware, and AMD doesn't. But what you're saying is they're talking about getting a machine learning solution, and at the moment, DLSS is better than Super Resolution. But if they add that machine learning, AMD is going to catch up pretty quick, right? You would think.
FSR isn't a machine learning implementation, but it's
no, that's not what I'm saying. What I said was they're talking. So Tech was saying they're talking about doing a machine learning solution on top of FSR, whereas DLSS is a machine learning, and you need to use their tech for it. You need to use their hardware for it. Is that right, Tech?
Yeah. So it's actually a thing called Wave Matrix Multiply Accumulate. It's FMA instructions. So instead of actually having, it is a hardware thing, but it's not all the way, left field like, the tensor cores. So what it does is it actually runs on a standard GPU, and the hardware has to be there, small die area for Wave Matrix Multiply. And basically it allows the GPU itself to do additional calculations to its standard calculations. So it basically could do machine learning kind of on the side without having to have this huge GPU area for this extra machine learning stuff. And that's what I was talking about, Xbox with DirectML, and they said they added hardware. I believe that is what they're talking about, and they will be able to take advantage of this next level.
So using mesh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Will they be using? No, you're right. You go.
By using WMMA.
Right, gotcha.
What's WMMA, mate? Sorry, that's way too technical for me.
Wave Matrix, yeah, it's up there for me too, man. Wave Matrix Multiply Accumulate. So basically, if you think of a matrix, and in one matrix with multiple squares, and 1 times 1 is 1, right? 2 times 2 is 4, so on and so forth. And so you would just go to that table. The GPU would just go to that table. Okay, this is the answer for that. This number is this. This number is that. And so it's an easier, I wouldn't say an easier way, but it's a more cost-effective way to do machine learning than adding specific tensor cores. It might not be as good, but it's kind of that halfway point there.
Right, gotcha. I understand what you're saying.
That's gone way over my head, but yeah.
No. Basically, what he's saying is it's
all math.
It's a more resource-effective way of them pulling information from the matrix instead of using what they were using before. Tensor cores, I don't know what they are, but it sounds like developers putting in specific values for this and that, and pulling those values from the matrix.
The tensor cores are, use case specific processors for deep learning. And what that is it allows you to train an AI model. They train the AI on servers or whatnot. And then the tensor cores will actually run that what's called machine learning inferencing data. So they train it, and then it spits out, okay, I've learned this, I've learned that, I've learned this. I've learned that this motion to the left creates these artifacts. Here's how, and then you go in and say, hey, this is how you fix that so it doesn't look like trash, right? And then if this explosion happens, okay, it looks like trash right now. Okay, well, this is how you fix that so it doesn't look like trash. And all that stuff gets programmed in, and then it gets, pushed into the GPU. And then so when you turn on DLSS, the GPU is like, oh, okay, I know how to fix that. Oh, I know how to fix that. This doesn't look good. I know how to fix that. And so the tensor cores operate all of that. It's an oversimplification, but you understand what I'm saying? It's like teaching a kid something, and then when he finally gets it, he doesn't need you to teach him anymore.
Yeah, so it becomes more cost effective on the hardware.
The GPU, yeah.
Got ya. Okay, look, I'll go to the panel, and obviously you won't be able to give us as technical a rundown as FSR, but all I can say to you, from my point of view, is I'm super excited about what it's going to do for gaming. This is going to if you look at Doom Eternal as an example of great development, it's taking that Doom Eternal to the next level. I mean, technically, it's possible that Doom Eternal could bump that up to, nearly 4K with ray tracing. So I guess it depends on the developer and how they implement it. But Umbra, are you super excited about FSR? It is a huge thing for the industry.
I'm excited for it, but I won't lie to anybody. I'm not the most tech savvy when it comes to these types of things right here. So I'm excited that it will improve things. And I guess it confirms the whole tools things that we kept hearing about for so long too. So that's a plus. Yeah, I'm excited for anything that's going to give us, our games and such that's going to be produced for us, a better look and performance. So absolutely, I'm excited for it. I looked up a video for it comparing FSR 1.0 to 2.0, and that to a 380 running DLSS. Yeah, DLSS 2.4, and it was really nice compared to the DLSS. So I'm actually impressed by that, and I'm just want to know what trickery will the higher end studios pull off with that, the coalitions, the initiatives, I want to see what they can really pull off with that going forward. So I'm excited. Absolutely.
Absolutely awesome. Doomy, this is going to possibly give Forza 5, Horizon 5, the extra overhead it needs to get to that 120 FPS. Is that something that you'd be stoked for?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think any upgrade to any game, I think all gamers would be appreciative of. And yeah, look, some of this talk can go over people's heads. Look, I'm not the most, I don't know all the tech jargon and things like that. But I will say, this is the future. Like, we are literally looking at where gaming will be going. And I can imagine that sometime in the future we'll probably end up having just one console, and it will learn over time, and we'll only have to replace parts, sort of very similar to the way a PC works.
You mean it'll become self-aware and take it? We'll call it Skynet.
I'm about to say like Skynet. Yeah.
Yeah. My Xbox is going to try and kill me in the future. So I'm excited.
There was talk about that when the series consoles were being released, that they would go more of a PC route where you could upgrade your console by just replacing parts. So I mean, that's
idea.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Pete doesn't like to have to do anything tech. He is 78. So
This is the reason we buy consoles and not PC. So we plug it in and it works. Simple.
Not always, Pete. Not always.
I completely agree with you.
True.
I hate downloading drivers. I hate all that stuff. That's why I love my console.
No, but the thing is, they'll just do it themselves. They'll become so effective and so self-sufficient that we won't have to worry about it.
They'll just replace their own parts.
That scares me a little bit.
It'd be cool to have modules.
They'll order their own parts automatically, like off Amazon.
Yeah, tech. You were saying it'd be cool to have modules that you could basically pull out, like the proprietary memory.
Because I've thought about this before. Like, it'd be cool to have a power supply and GPU, CPU modules, memory modules that you could just 6 years down the line, instead of buying a whole new console, here's a choice of modules. If you want to upgrade your CPU, you can. If you want to upgrade your GPU, you can. So on and so forth. The only problem would be, I think, is that developers, they'll move on from the old stuff really quickly. So
it'd become an expensive purchase.
With what you said, you should be able to put all of that machine learning into the other games, right?
what do you?
So I think she's
said
saying
that
that the old tech would last a lot longer, which is obviously what they're trying to do with the advent of machine learning, super resolution, VRR, all these tools that mesh shaders that we haven't even seen yet. That the tech should last a lot longer with the software that's going to help run it.
Yeah, and that is the misconception. But honestly, what happens is devs are like, "Oh, look, I got a shiny new toy. Let's push it as hard as it can go." And so, they get these things and it's supposed to, this is for efficiency and to make things better or whatnot. They're like, I was at 50 FPS. I need to be at 60 FPS. You know what? Let's just raise the resolution and freaking, gas it at RT at 30. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that happens is they will push and push and push the limits, or sometimes one studio will push and other studios won't, because you'll see, like, look at Cyberpunk 2077, beautiful game, but they pushed too hard on the last gen. You know what I mean? And so that's the kind of thing that some developers do, and that's the cool thing about it, but it's a double-edged sword. So yeah, old hardware, while it still be able to run the game, you're going to run into them pushing with these new toys that they have on the new hardware. So that's the only thing. So with machine learning now, you can do so much more stuff. The Hellblade demo used machine learning for the movement of that giant, for example, and Unreal Engine 5. And Unreal Engine 5 can run on last gen consoles, but not that game. That game's not running on last gen. Fortnite, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. That is absolutely true, obviously. And I'm all for developers pushing it. Bushido, are you excited about FSR getting 120 in Horizon, getting 120 in Fortnite? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Especially in Fortnite. Yeah.
Hey, Bushido, we haven't even played Fortnite together. I didn't even realize.
No, we probably never will either. But
why?
yeah, yeah. I don't. My grandson wants me to play Fortnite, and that's my buddy. And I'm like, I'll play Apex. I won't play Roblox, but I'll play anything else besides Fortnite. And now they have the no build thing, and he's like, "Nah, you can play now." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I keep ducking him. So
Cool. No, I'll hold your hand. Don't worry.
All right, okay. That's
nice.
nice.
Man, like, it's actually a little bit of fun, bro.
Oh,
like, honestly,
no, it's not.
They got me into it.
No, it's not.
It's actually a little bit of fun, mate.
Fortnite, no.
Wait.
We're even gonna play it.
Jedi Knight Peter plays?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, he's a fraud. He's a fraud.
He's a fraud. Fraud confirmed.
Fraud.
I'm disappointed in you, Peter.
I actually had a really good time.
Casual.
And see, then you admitted that too. That makes me more ashamed and disappointed. I'm not mad at you, just disappointed.
That hurts. That hurts, Bushido. That hurts.
Look, bringing it back to FSR, Mr. Bushido, the things that it could mean for gaming and, all the tools as a whole.
I love it, though.
Yeah,
I love it. I did a little bit of research on Tech Talk. Like Umber said, it's over my head to a degree. I'm an older guy too. I try to keep up with it though. And as I was reading it, I was glad to hear that because as we talked to certain developers, they were saying that to be able to get to certain frame rates and certain things, you had to turn the res down and you had to make certain adjustments. And this would keep you from having to make certain sacrifices. And I was really happy to see that. And also too, with it having machine learning and the mesh shaders, I think the future of gaming is going to be gorgeous. And I can't wait to see it. But to have a software like this come in and help boost frame rate, I love that. Just that idea in itself. I was really geeked out about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, isn't it, Bushido? Like, all this tech talk is great, and maybe it goes over our head a little bit, but at the end of the day, what we do know is it's going to make our games look and play better, and that's what we paid for with these series consoles. So yeah, I can't wait.
Facts. Yep.
Exactly. Look, we'll move to the next topic. Before we do, I just want to thank the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing today. I've been, I do try to respond when I can, but I'm running a whole bunch of shit in the background. So I really appreciate all you guys coming in, taking your time to listen and interact with us in the chat. Please, vote on the poll because we're at 52 now, and we've had a 50-50 split for every poll we've done today. Please hit the like button, share us out, subscribe if you're new here. Let's get on with the next topic. Look, this is not something that no one's talking about, and I find it interesting. And I can't remember who brought this up in our topics talk earlier in the week.
It was me.
It was you. PS Plus. How did you know which one I was going to go to? I don't always go in order. You know, I'm a bit ADD like that.
You and I are in the document, actually.
Oh yeah, I'll see you watching what I'm doing. She's watching me. So PS Plus has released in Australia. I'm not sure when it released in America, but what I've noticed is, and what Doomy noticed earlier in the week, is that no one's talking about this. No one seems to care. I will say I've heard ponies or people who are diehard PlayStation users who said they would never sign up to a subscription service because it's the bane of the industry. They've signed up. So that's the only thing that I've heard about it. Other than that, I haven't heard a damn thing about PS Plus. Now, Doomy, I'm going to go to you because you do have a PlayStation 5 like myself. I haven't turned mine on in what seems like an age. I mean, my son's 10 and a half months old. The only time I turn it on, this is honest to God facts, is I've discovered it has the sports app that plays the footy, and that is literally gets turned on once a week for me to watch my football game. So a really expensive TV top box. But Doomy, what have you had a look at this PS Plus? Do you think it's something that's comparable to Game Pass, and why do you think that no one's talking about it? Like it is a great thing. I think it's a pretty good service. It's not comparable.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's an issue with the promotion of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing the world through like an Xbox lens. But yeah, I do have a PS5, and I haven't played it as much as I thought I would when I first bought it. I had the intention of playing the, PlayStation exclusives on there. And if I, really liked it, then, obviously I would mix up or, alternate the games that I would get to play on either PS5 or Xbox. But that just hasn't happened. All of the new games that are coming out, I expect that I'll definitely play them on Xbox. I don't know. I just don't know what it is. I don't know why this service hasn't kicked off the way that Xbox Game Pass has. Game Pass is amazing. I don't know if it's potentially more user-friendly or the way that they promote it is better, or I just can't put my finger on it.
It's establishment. I mean, you're fairly new to the PlayStation ecosystem as well as I am as well. But I got a PlayStation for about 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 months ago, and I hammered my way through all the exclusives, and they are great. And I obviously got the I've been back in Xbox this whole time, and wow, these games are great. I didn't know how good they were. Some of these guys are actually right. Have you played any of those exclusives yet? I mean, have you picked up The Last of Us? Have you had a crack at God of War? You haven't had a crack at any of these games?
I played a little bit of God of War, but like I said, I just, it doesn't feel the same. And you know what? The first ever console that we owned in my house growing up was a PS2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I started with Xbox, way back when I was a young teenager. So I just don't know what it is. I just can't get into it, guys. I just can't. And I've looked at the PS Plus, and it's just meh. It's just.
I think that has something to do with the.
This feels lackluster to you.
people
That's
that are
all.
on there, do me? Like,
Huh?
there's such a good community around the Xbox that it sort of pulls you
Yeah.
more into gaming. And I
think-
find that I don't
yeah.
have that with PlayStation. Sorry, you go, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The community around Xbox is just phenomenal, and I think a lot of people have said it. Like, I know that Umbra, he's like to sort of play by himself quite a bit, and I guess for people who are solo gamers,
He does play with himself quite a bit.
That was supposed to be our secret.
Look, yeah, I don't know. I'm not into it, and I feel like people are getting it just to have it, and and people aren't hyping it up as much as they should. They should be like these ponies or whatever. Like, yeah, okay, they might not want to be in a subscription service, but like like Risket said, they're still joining up because they do want to check out these games.
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm going to take it to Mr. Pashida because I think I definitely want to get your point of view on this because I know that you're very active on Twitter, like myself. Do you think it's that the PlayStation hardcore fans have put their foot in it so many times, saying things that they wouldn't do, things that they wouldn't buy, things that are bad, and so many times we've had things have been turned around and they've had to backpedal and try to change their point of view. Do you think they're just tired of being wrong and that's why they're not hyping up PlayStation Plus on Twitter? I expected to see something, but I've really seen nothing from it.
It's a bit of both, though, Risk. Like they talked all that trash. You got to keep that in mind. A lot of these ponies are just saving face. A lot of them. So they talk so much trash about Game Pass and how they would never subscribe to any subscription type service. All those things combined, now they have to keep their mouths closed, even if they're subscribed. That's the problem.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly, man. You saw it with, every pony had a super powerful 3090 Ti PC, right?
Exactly.
Right. And I could just play Xbox games, and then when PlayStation games come to PC, everybody's cutting their PS4 Pro in half. I mean, like, what is this?
Exactly, man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
But the way I look at it, I have both, right? I got the PS5. I have right now, somehow I forgot to cancel out for PSN, so they charge me for the next month. By the way, I got to cancel that by the end of this show. So the thing is, the problem with PlayStation versus, or at least PS Plus versus Game Pass is accessibility, and that's where Microsoft is excelling at. If you really look at it, right? Because Microsoft, their thing is to play anywhere, so I can go and take my stuff and play it on the go. All these different options. I could play it here. I could play it on my PC. I could play it on my Xbox. I could play it on my phone, my tablet, whatever it may be. Versus Sony, they don't offer those really that option. You know what I mean? It's pretty clear. So, and they're gonna have the smart TVs too for the Samsung as well. And then of course we know about the Google like stick that they're gonna add to the TVs that you can have. So they're gonna give you so many more options. That's one of them. But the biggest thing for me, and will always be in Game Pass's favor, is day and date first party games. If Sony did that, I think it would help catapult them at least to make them somewhat comparable. But the fact that Microsoft has that and Sony doesn't is always going to be a negative for Sony in my eyes.
And third party support. I don't think they have enough third party support as I look at the games and everything, and I'm like, it's not enough third party support. It's it's some old first party stuff, but third party, I'm like, that's what will help pad the resume, and they don't have any almost.
In the Series S category.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that will come with time. To be honest, look, when Game Pass started, it was very basic what was actually implemented. And so I think that will come with time. At the end of the day, I think you're right with these PlayStation ponies. They have bashed Game Pass so much that I think they're afraid to admit a subscription service is actually good. I think that will change if they actually try the service. And look, I mean, let's face it, it's no Game Pass. That day and day aspect of Game Pass just elevates it to another level. In saying that, and I've said it all along, I think it's actually a really good thing for gamers having access to all these games games that you would generally not play and not try because of that price barrier are just gone. And so I think the narrative will change. Don't forget that when Game Pass first came out, there wasn't that much marketing around it. I think Sony will eventually start to push it a little bit more. But in saying all that, I think they're missing out because I think PlayStation Plus is a good service. And the more people that use it, the more games that they'll add into it. And who knows? I mean, what did Biscuit say? Wolverine will go day and date. And so, yeah, we'll see if that happens. I don't think that it will still. And I've said that, from the outset. But I hope Biscuit's right. I really do. I hope that Sony competes with Game Pass and does eventually bring that day and date aspect to it, which will elevate it.
I absolutely think it. I think it will elevate it, and I think the reason that I say Wolverine will go day and date, and at the time I actually did mean PC. However, I will say that they're stupid to not bring first parties in. They're just handicapping their own service. It's when you've got a competitor out there, and then you bring a service to try to compete with that competitor, you at least need to do what that competitor is doing at the very least, and then you should offer something on top.
I have a feeling that they're just like, I don't know, we're just going to do our own thing, see how it goes. Like, even though, Xbox, Microsoft, they've done a great job. I just don't understand. I feel like they're being stubborn about it.
Oh, they absolutely
I think they don't have the money.
You're right. Yeah, I think you're right, Doomy, as well. And look, Game Pass has already done the legwork. Xbox has already done the legwork.
Yeah.
It's shown that, it can be successful. And so, the jury's not out anymore. The jury's in. The consumers love it. It's free marketing, and I think that these ponies have done themselves a disservice bashing Game Pass so much that PlayStation can get away with not putting their games day and date in there, and at the end of the day, they've only hurt themselves.
Agreed. I absolutely agree with that. I think from all the hardcores out on Twitter bashing Game Pass, as Pete said, it's given PlayStation the permission that they need to not compete on the same level as Game Pass, and I think that they think that their supporters will carry them through, and I think to some degree that they're probably right, which is sad for PlayStation players all around. And look, I have a PlayStation and I would like them to compete, and if they did, I would probably have both services and maybe split my time. But at the moment, it's more of a value proposition to be on Xbox. We'll move on to the next topic, unless anyone else has something to add about PlayStation Plus and the sadness of it all. Nope.
The only thing I want to add real quick was, to me right now, for me, it's like one of those circumstantial times I'll subscribe, like to use the DLC. So instead of buying the DLC, I'll subscribe for that month and finish Iki Island and what other DLCs I have from other games. And that's about it. That's the only value I can see in it right now.
Yeah, that means they're going to have fluctuating numbers. I do think as well, I'll add just before we move to the next topic, that I think that Xbox should have a 12-month subscription, and I think that would help stabilize their numbers.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
And I would subscribe straight away to a 12 months personally, because I know that I'm going to have Game Pass for the duration, especially going into 2023, because they'll actually have some games, hopefully. Moving on to the next topic, and this is a bit of a big one that I need to set the scene for, because if you're not on Twitter, you've probably missed all this, and there are some people that are not on Twitter, and I understand that. So look, I'll set the scene for you guys. So there was a rumor from Tom Henderson earlier in the week, and he said that Santa Monica and Sony right now is preparing to announce something to give God of War fans some life. He was hinting at there would be an announcement about God of War, and giving us a date and some more information. That did not materialize. But then Corey Barlog decided to jump on Twitter and run up and down everywhere all over Twitter. He was on there for 2 days, just I found it teasing, and it was pretty funny. Like, I was following the dude, everything he was tweeting, and he was pretty active, and that to me sounded like, oh, we may get the announcment. We didn't get it. It didn't materialize at all. And if it was going to materialize, we would have seen it yesterday, or at least early today, and we haven't. On the back of this, a lot of PlayStation fans got really upset, and some of them dealt with it in some extremely weird ways. So this is a hugely tiered conversation, and we're going to talk about everything involved in this. Is God of War coming? Corey Barlog did say that it's not delayed after someone asked him, why don't you just tell us it's delayed so we can move on? He said it's not delayed. But then someone dealt with it in a very weird way. Estelle Tigiani, who is one of the lead developers with God of War, I believe she's a cinematics producer. She said, pro tip, sending me dick pics asking for the God of War Ragnarok release date will not, in fact, get me to reveal the release date to people who are doing so. When did that ever work for you? Very interesting question.
I had good intentions. I didn't know it was going to go this way.
Well, this is absolutely hilarious. There's just so many questions and things that come up. I'm just basically going to open the panel, and you guys can just go nuts on this if you want. But I will say this one thing: how the fuck did we get here? How did we get to this point where someone thinks that sending a picture of their meat penis puppet to a developer is going to get them to give them a release date? Oh, that looks nice. Hey, it's coming out next month. Like, the logic in that is just, it just boggles the mind. You can't think your way around it, through it, into it. It's just, I think there's some look, and I'll say this as well before I move to the panel. It always seems to be one side of the community when something is like ridiculous, stupid, egregious, or just plain wrong. It always seems to be the blue side of the community. And I'm going to pose this question, and then I'll leave it open to you guys. Do you think the PlayStation fan guys are just worse, or is it just because there's more of them, they get more of the crazies? Oh boy, I don't know. It's crazy. Look, I'll go to you, meshing around, because I feel like you've got something to say on this. And then, guys, look, just go for it. Have at it.
Definitely, man. We're talking about games and different things, and he sends me a picture of him in a Ku Klux Klan outfit with a noose, and guy sends me, these racist things, and it's crazy. It is. I mean, Mr. Console, Dr. Console Passion, Mr. Doxing everyone. It is one. I feel like it's heavily one-sided. I have a hashtag, the most toxic gaming community, that I put on all those things. I mean, you can look at them. It's crazy. And so I give the same energy that I get. Like, if you disrespect me, like, I'm coming at you with the disrespect. And that's just because, like, I want to show you how ridiculous it looks to, cross that line over a plastic box, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's uncalled for. It is really uncalled for.
My plastic box.
Yeah. I know. It's
Yeah, look, I'll just add. I'm just going to add something to that, like with what you mentioned. I've had stuff sent to me on the YouTube channel and Twitter, and like, go hang yourself, all sorts of things like sent to me. It's I stopped posting them online because they come so often. Guys, and I know that everyone in the chat is like 100% all good, but I mean, if you see people out there, people related, this is what they're going to do. They're going to say things like this to people, or they brag about it, or that happens. Man, please discourage that shit, because it's console wars, and it should be humorous and funny. It shouldn't be racist and dick pics.
Yeah, exactly. From both sides. I mean, you call it out from both sides, like you said. But yeah, there's one side that's just they're awful, man.
Do you think?
And there is a line, isn't there?
I'm gonna put this out there. So I'm a female, just in case you didn't know.
Really? Say what?
Damn.
The deception.
All this time?
And you know what? I have been the receiver of this sort of thing unsolicited, and I think these devs and people that work on these games, they do make themselves more accessible than ever. And the fact that me, as just a regular woman gamer, I receive that, I assume that these perhaps simple-minded people that have a penis, I don't know what they identify as, but maybe they just, because everyone is so accessible, they were just like, yeah, let's just see if that's funny, and just like be really stupid about it. Like, I don't know how many she received, whether it was multiple people or not, because that would be a really interesting coincidence. But yeah, look, guys, all right, listen here. Top tip from a woman, a heterosexual woman. We don't want dick pics, okay? We just don't. and no dick pic, no matter how impressive, would convince me to break a NDA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Take that
Doomy,
back.
exactly what you said, how they are being more accessible to everybody. It just takes away from that where they'll want to move away. They won't want to be so accessible, and
Yeah,
we
right.
lose that accessibility, and that's a problem. It's disgusting. Yeah, no one should have to fucking get that. Sorry,
Absolutely.
swear. But
Agreed. And just to add to that, I think I'm going to say this. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but there are more PlayStation guys, right? So because of that ratio, there's going to be more fanboys and more toxic ones at that. That's one. But I also think they're worse. I'm just going to be real with you. And I think because they've gotten this we're in first place mentality, it's led to a lot of extra toxicity that they feel they have to keep a hold of because nothing else really makes sense for adults to act this way. Just to add, by the way, compare the communities. And what I mean by that is you just spoke about how the devs, make themselves accessible. And now you see them pulling away. But you only see that on the PlayStation side. Have you all noticed that? You don't see that on the Xbox side. On the Xbox side of things, you don't hear people talking about, don't send me dick pics. You don't hear them talking about that. You don't hear them pulling away and recoiling from us. They actually embrace and we embrace them back. They appear on our podcasts. They jump into chats. They communicate with us in DMs and on our tweets.
Yeah.
You don't see that on the PlayStation side of things. That's not some weird conspiracy. Why? It's because a lot of those
Look
toxic guys are toxic on the other side. That's just the truth.
Kojima went through when he announced he was working on Xbox. I mean, so it's a little bit on the other side, so
Yeah, how
not a
about that?
female
Yeah.
and male.
Yep.
So it's on both sides. And yeah, you're right. You're right, Umbra. The PlayStation fanboys have. It's like they have to constantly push it to a new level.
Yep,
I think it's Sony's own doing, though.
I agree.
Well,
They
yeah, I
helped.
mean, they haven't made any
Ooh, you're
statement
not the only
about this,
person that said
have they?
that today.
They
I
haven't
thought
said
this one else
anything.
that said the same thing. I'm sorry, Doom Cutie. I didn't mean to cut you. I mean, Cutie. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. Like I don't know. I feel like if this happened on Xbox, if people were sending Sarah Bond dick pics, they would have said something.
Yep.
So it's just I don't know. It's just crazy the whole thing. And yeah, they're a lot more wild, and they're not. I don't know. They're just they love the drama. They get carried away, and it's just I'm not here for it.
It's Sony hasn't come out and said anything to say, hey, I mean, Sony Santa Monica just released a statement today or whatnot, but they don't. But Phil Spencer straight up, came out and said, the console war, stop all that nonsense, play games. Everybody should be able to play games, and Sony is still stomping around like a 2-year-old, throwing a tantrum. It's crazy. And because they don't say anything, it goes wild. It goes wild. And I think
they
that
need to rein their community in. They really do.
Exactly.
You know what? If anybody could do it, they could do it. They could absolutely. If they say it, that's one of the problems that I've always said about the Sony fan base is that they feel as though they're talking directly to them. They take everything personal. The console is made for us. It's made for us, for gamers. You know that. And you're like, dude, it's just a company line. But if they did say something, I think it would really make a difference in this situation. But they won't, because it continues to push forward the whole mindset of this is the superior console and this is what you need to get on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and you're right. Absolutely, that entitlement. When again, not to go back to the guy that cut his PS4 in half. He was like, he was mad because he said, because you're taking games from my console, dude. You don't own that. I mean, like it's not just yours, man.
To be fair, I think that was Blaze, right? And I think he did that because he made a deal.
Yeah,
he made a deal.
But still, though,
I know he cut it.
I'm not doing that. Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, he was mad. Like the statement,
he was mad
like,
though. Yeah.
Taking games from my console, like it's for everybody. It's not yours. Like you feel like, I don't know. It's just this cultish.
It is very cultish,
the mentality that they have. the mentality that they
Very similar to
have.
what Crap Gamer
Sorry,
did
Pete, you
last
go.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's very similar to what Crap Gamer did last generation, where Quantum Break was being put on PC, and he sent a
Mhm.
message to Phil Spencer saying that he's no longer going to be supporting Xbox. And Phil sent a great comment back to him saying, "Why do you want less people to play this game? We don't." And he called him out immediately for it. Immediately for it. That's what we need to see from Sony.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think.
That was the
that'll go
beginning
well.
of the
Exactly.
downfall of Crap Gamer, and I was so happy to see that.
Look, I absolutely,
Everybody saw him as the fraud he was. Then after that,
I absolutely agree with that.
Honestly.
Like, it's a problem. It's a problem that this PlayStation community has, that these are ours, and what makes them special is that no one else plays them, and it's completely the opposite. What makes a game special is when more people play that game,
Yeah.
and I just it's craziness. Yeah, it's absolute craziness. And that's what we see from that side of the community. And I do think, look, I know that I agree with you, Umbra, when you said that they probably are a bit worse because they've got that first place and they feel like they've got to hold on to it. But there's more of them, so you're obviously going to get more crazies. But the craziness is always just the next level. You're right, Pete, in what you said, where people just sit like trying to level it up the crazy. It's out of control. I mean, doxing a patient to prove a point is just that's going real world. This should never get to this point.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
when
Doctor.
that dude did that. Yeah,
Goodness
Tech talked about it earlier. That when he do the console passion, dude, when he did all that and filmed it, I wasn't. It's like what Bushido said earlier. It was like, I'm not mad at you. It's just I'm just disappointed. it's like, damn, dude, it can't be that serious. It cannot be.
Bro, I had a surgery coming up. I just got surgery. I just finally got the surgery, but I had a surgery coming up before it was canceled the first time, and that's all I was thinking about. I was like, is the guy going to ask me what kind of video games I play, and then I'm never going to wake up?
What type of games you like? Oh, I like Halo. Oh, you like Halo, huh?
I know what console you play on first, pal.
Look, you like I like Halo. Oh, you do.
So you like Halo? Do you want a Halo?
Yeah, I'm about to give you a Halo right now.
Starts ticking a box. Would it be a box and the little sheet that you fill out is like, do you like Xbox or PlayStation? You're like, ah.
Oh man, I'll give you one right now.
Someone in the chat, was it Macho Chacho? We should remove all warning labels from all things dangerous and just let natural selection do its thing.
I have said that so many times. We need to honestly, and I know it's a horrible thing to say, but I think if we remove all of the signs, things will just sort themselves out. Like, we won't have these dramas. But then we wouldn't have ridiculous, funny stuff to talk about on the podcast. So maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know. I just think it's a fun. It'd be a fun thing to do. Just at least remove the signs from one section of the city and see what happens.
Just for one day. Just one day. See what happens.
See how it goes. Turn off all the traffic lights. We can sit back with a beer on the top floor and just watch the nuts go crazy. Look, we'll move on to the next topic, but I'll just add to the end of this, as I said before, please, guys, if you see someone or hear of someone or someone saying that they have done anything like this, where it takes it to a next level seriousness, pulling guns on a stream, sending dick pics, doxing patients, or, even just sending messages to people to tell them to go kill themselves, pull them up. Because this shit's not acceptable. This is gaming. It's supposed to be fun. And the console wars is supposed to be fun. Back in the day when it was Nintendo versus Sega, my best mate had a Nintendo. I had a Sega. And we used to rip on each other constantly. And it was fun. We never tried to kill each other. We never told each other to go kill themselves. And, we never sent each other dick pics, because, well, he was a dude. And we're just not like that. But
in real life, so you just
we just show each other in real life. That's right.
Yeah. Mike Tyson said it best. He was like, social media has made people comfortable with, talking trash and not getting punched in the face for it.
It's true. That's one thing that I hold to. Is if you're going to say something to someone on social media, you make sure that it's something that you would say in real life to their face. And that's a good way to treat social media, I think. personally. Look, we'll move on. But before we do, chat, you guys have been absolutely amazing. I've been reading all the chats, trying to keep up with you guys, and you're hilarious. And some of these takes are like on point. And I just want to thank you all for coming and watching the show. Please hit the like button, share us out, subscribe. It's you guys who power this show and make the show what it is. And there's more and more of you every week. And I just want to say that we really, really appreciate you, especially Spooky down there with the wee willy winky. Wanker. So moving on to the next topic.
Finish that sentence off, Risket.
Moving on to the next topic. Look, the Labour Union that's within the ABK, there was a fight to get, if you've been following this story, ABK is Activision Blizzard and King. And if you've been following this story, they've been trying to get a join the Labour Union and fix things in the background there for the developers, because obviously they've had a lot of problems, sexual harassment, so on and so forth going on within those studios. And the Labour Union has recently thrown their backing behind the acquisition, Microsoft's acquisition of ABK, which is technically doesn't matter. So when it comes to, the FTC, but optics wise for the FTC, it definitely does. To have a Labour Union backing the acquisition can only be a good thing. And look, I am of a personal opinion more now than I'd ever been. I think I was sitting at about 90% this is going to happen. I personally think, even just based on this, it's 100%. I think we're going to see this acquisition, and I think we're going to see it pretty early in 2023. I thought it would be mid 2023, but things seem to be moving quite quickly. And that means just more games in Game Pass for us gamers. And look, I also did a poll as well on the discussion that we had last week about Diablo going exclusive. And look, overwhelmingly, people don't think it will because the game's too big. They've already announced it for PlayStation, so on and so forth. But I mean, if it comes to Game Pass, that to me, that's all that matters. People say it's a type of exclusive, which, I kind of cringe at a little bit, but it's true. It is a type of exclusive. We get it exclusively in Game Pass day one. So look, Pete, do you think that we're going to see this acquisition go through a lot sooner than we initially thought it was going to be?
No. And the reason why I say that is because there's just no way to speed up red tape process. Unfortunately, that's what's going to hold everything up. Maybe, and I don't want to get too political, maybe if the Republicans were in power, yes, but the fact of the matter is, with the Democrats, there's always a lot more red tape that you're going to have to go through. People like Elizabeth Warren already calling that stuff out. So unfortunately, I think that Microsoft are going to have to deal with the red tape. I don't know when it'll be. I am hoping that it'll be before, say, end of financial year next year, and hopefully earlier, but I can't see it going through earlier. In regards to the unionization, there's nothing Microsoft can do anyway, because they have to remain hands-off. Otherwise, it's basically illegal for them to operate any other way. They have to allow ABK to basically be independent at the moment because they are. The purchase hasn't gone through. But collective bargaining power of a union has proven to work for the employees of companies time and time again. And so if they can get a good outcome out of it, then more power to them.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hoping that, Pete, that you are wrong. I want to see this acquisition go through as soon as possible because I would like to be playing Modern Warfare 2 basically for free. Well, it is for free for me because I do my rewards. Meshing around, I'm going to go to you. Do you think we're going to see this acquisition come through a lot sooner than people thought? I am thinking personally that the acquisition will come through start of 2023. There is some people that believe it's coming through at December, like Valorant in the chat there. How do you see this acquisition going? Bushido.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, did he say Bushido? Okay.
No, I said meshing around, but he's obviously just taking a second.
I got you.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking.
Oh, your mic was muted.
Oh, good, bro. Good.
You go.
Bad.
That's all right.
You guys are all good, mate.
I was saying that it seems as though I would think Microsoft would wait, closer to their, fiscal year type thing for that to go through, because then that would start them off or end them with either end them with a great fiscal year or start them off of a great fiscal year. I believe their fiscal year is June.
Yep,
So, yeah. So if anything, it'll be in that first part of next year, I believe, or it would be, closer to summer if they wanted to announce it. But I hope so. It's the faster it closes, the better, for them anyway. But they're still making the games for us, so that's always a plus.
Well, at the end of the day, we're getting all the games, so yeah, that is definitely a thing. Bushido,
all the games.
Bushido, do you see the acquisition going through
that way? I never thought of it that way with the fiscal year and everything. That sounds more plausible, especially for a company of that size. And yeah, I think I'm going to go with that.
That's always been my thoughts as well, that it'll go through around June because of that.
Bushido.
Yeah. I was hoping at first, just as a gamer, it would be sometime soon, and you would have all those games dropping there as if I don't have a backlog. But yeah, I'm thinking, when I look at it as a company would, that makes perfect sense, that the way they would do it that way. So I'm in agreement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mr. Kima in the chat said July 1st, 2022 started Microsoft's fiscal year 2023, and they did state that it would be within sometime in the fiscal year. So, it has started. So it could possibly be closed any time now, but we don't know. Umbra, do you think that we'll see it close this year, start of next year, or mid next year?
Well, the speculation is that it will close fiscal 2023, they said?
Mm-hmm. They did, yep.
So June 2023, basically.
Yeah. I think it'll be largely wrapped up before that point. We heard the lawyer come out and speak, and, we keep seeing these positive things, such as the newest information with the largest communications coming behind to support them. It's going to happen. I just don't know how soon it would be. Like Pete said, I don't know if money can necessarily rush it, but I wouldn't put it past it either, because capitalism is powerful. So I don't know to be sure, but I think I'll put it to you like this. I think it'll be wrapped up fast enough to where we will get Diablo 4 on Game Pass. So to me, whatever fiscal year that falls within is going to be before the end of June, I would think, because Diablo 4 would have to fall into that 12 month.
Mm-hmm.
October then, mate. Modern Warfare 2, Game Pass.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? But at the very least, we know it has to happen before Diablo, in my opinion, at least, because that would make sense that Diablo would launch day and date into Game Pass. That's the way I look at it, for that 12-month plan that they're talking about. Because there's no reason.
Can you imagine when this happens and there's Diablo on Game Pass? Like, the community is going to explode. It's going to be massive.
Yeah. 2023 itself is going to be crazy for that reason.
Hey, just send some warning shots, man. Just send a small sausage, then a picture of a hot dog, a bigger sausage, foot long, and say, hey, the big one's coming if you don't.
I like that.
Look, Hargate Chatty in the chat there, and Hargate's a great friend of the show, great friend that we play with quite often in party chats. He did say that they're already working with the EU in the UK as well to get those 3 approvals. So you're looking at the FTC is going to pass it, but the EU and the UK also have to pass it, and they're already working with those guys, and we know that they're in stage 2 of the acquisition. So look, I'm still I don't think we'll get it this year. It's possible, but I think it's very likely that we get it at the beginning of June 2023, because that is the mid-year of the fiscal year 2023. That's right in the middle. So I think that's a good place to kind of aim your predictions for. But Doom Cutie, we haven't got your opinion on this. Do you think we'll see this acquisition close, this year or start of next year, or do you think it'll close mid-year next year around June, July?
No, I agree with Umbra. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. I think. Sorry. Look, I think the acquisition, the deal, I think it will all coincide with Diablo. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for them to really, really expand the population of Game Pass. So, yeah, I think they'd be silly not to coincide those. So whenever Diablo comes out, I think that's when they'll announce the deal's closed.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to see. Someone in the chat just said that they also want more done with StarCraft and Cozy. I agree with you. I would really love to see them bring a StarCraft to console and at least develop one for sure, because it's been a hot minute since we've had one. Look, we'll move on to the next topic. Psychonauts, welcome. Everyone in the chat, you guys are absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate you guys turning up every week and listening to us shoot the shit about gaming. And please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share it out, let everyone know we're here. We'll move on to the next topic, which is, look, I'm going to slip this one in. It's going to be Halo Co-op tech test is coming in 15th of July. My question, and I can tell you this, from myself personally, I've stepped away from Halo, just a disappointment after disappointment, misstep after misstep, mistake after mistake, and not just within the game, outside of the game. And there was a lot of conversations over Twitter recently about the creative director, who, look, I think it was a little bit of cancel culture happening with him, because a lot of the stuff he said was probably locker room talk. Not terrible, but they did say a lot of things about Halo and the direction of 343 and the things that 343 do. Like it's been confirmed that they do not hire Bungie developers because they don't want a Bungie direction. They want to make it their own. And so far, that hasn't been a great way to go. So I look, with all of that stuff happening, I've stepped away from Halo, and I love it. Everyone knows that I love the game. I think it's got great bones. It's a great game. It needs more content. We know that. So the content is coming. We've got the Halo Co-op tech test, which I haven't been invited to. I don't know why, because I've always been very positive about the game. But I
don't think anyone's got their invites yet, mate.
I don't think I'll get one, but we'll see. He
was being facetious.
Will Co-op bring you back to the game or excite you for the game, guys? Because I know that some of you are still playing. And look, I'll go to Pete, because I know that you're probably the most excited here for the co-op. It's something that I can't wait to play with you personally. It will bring me back to the game. And so I know you're excited about it. Let us know.
Yeah, I can't wait, mate. Honestly, look, there's one thing that I'm a little bit apprehensive about and whether I want to do it or not. So you won't be launching your co-op campaign through the game that you already have. You'll have to do a separate download, because none of your progression will carry over after the beta. And so anything that you do during the beta, you'll have to redo in co-op later on. So that's a little bit disappointing. In saying that, I want to help 343 get the game out and get co-op out to everybody as soon as possible. So I'm still looking forward to jumping in and playing it. I have signed up to the beta through Halo Waypoint. You have to specifically choose campaign co-op, guys, if you want to get into it. So make sure that you have that box ticked on Halo Waypoint. In saying that, I hope it brings people back. I really do. I know that there's been a little bit of a talk within the Halo community recently, or whether or not they should be fixing the desync issue, or whether they should be fixing the co-op, the campaign co-op issue. And I think desync won by approximately 67% to 34%, something, or 33%, something like that. And the reason why they're not working on desync is because all their networking team has been placed onto the campaign co-op team, which, let's face it, guys, Halo has always launched with co-op. It should have been there day one. So the sooner they can get it into my hands, the better. And saying that as well, I like how it's being implemented. So if anybody, it doesn't matter if you're the leader, your progress will carry on. So if you do a mission together and you're not the leader, that will still count for you. If somebody else picks up a skull while you're in the game, that skull will go, you will always have that skull. You don't have to redo it in your game. How they've implemented the distance apart that you guys can be. So there's two different distances. At 800 feet, you'll get a warning saying you're getting too far away from your fellow Spartans or Master Chiefs, because we'll all be playing as Master Chief, which I think is a little bit of a misstep, but That's beside the point. And at 1,000, it'll be an insta death. And they said, so if you're attacking a base, the biggest bases in the game, it will actually allow you to enter that base from 2 opposing points with a little bit of room to
That's pretty
spare.
dope. I like
Yeah,
that. What I
yeah,
don't
me
like
too.
is the fact that we all have to be chief. I don't like
Yes,
that. I
I
think they
agree,
should
mate.
have allowed us to have our multiplayer Spartans in there. That was too obvious. Obvious choice that they should have gone with. Not allowing that, I think, is foolish. They can obviously add an update later, but the thing I dislike about 343 is always well, maybe later they can do this mentality that keeps going on with them. But other than
I
that,
agree.
I'm happy for the multiplayer or a co-op rather.
Yeah, I agree with you, Umbra. I think that you should be able to play as your Spartan that you're playing as your multiplayer game. I think that will add that little bit of customization options that, we all crave and I think we all loved in Halo Reach. Um, but yeah, in saying that, I'm still incredibly excited to try it out, jump in with you guys, get back into the campaign. I specifically didn't play the campaign on Legendary. I was waiting to play it. Oh, how apt that it came up on the screen right now. I didn't play it in Legendary because I wanted to play it with you guys, so I finished on Heroic. I've only done it once, so it's going to feel fresh the next time I get into it. So, yeah, I can't wait, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited for it
Absolutely.
too. I really, really enjoyed the campaign. So it'll be great to be able to play with my friends.
Yeah.
So
Are we
that
your
is
friends, Cutie? Are we included in that? Are you playing with us?
oh,
She's
I'll,
like, eh.
She sure did get
you know,
quiet.
I'll put you on the wait list. How about that? Everyone wants to play with Doom Cutie.
Oh man. Yeah, me and Risky had the same.
Oh, what? Oh, stop. Stop it. No, honestly, the moment I
Yep.
jump on, like I've had obviously, had quite a few people add me on Xbox lately. Not sure if it's coinciding with the podcast or not. But every time I jump on, there's always someone who's like, join a party. Do you want to play this game? Do you want to play this game? It's like, So sometimes I'm like incognito and I just.
That is the greatness of the community, and yeah, look, sometimes it can get a little bit much if you're at a party, but it's the great thing about the Xbox community that there's always someone to play with. It's
I enjoy that people want to play with me. It's nice. It makes me feel included.
Exactly, and that's how everyone should feel. I'm super excited for the co-op because I mean, me and Pete, long before any of this was a thing, we went through the Master Chief Collection because there was a couple that I hadn't played because I dropped off Halo and went to Battlefield, and we ran through the entire Master Chief collection with Wolf, me and Pete, and on Legendary, and it was absolutely a great time. We had a great time playing the entire campaign of every single game. Look, I'll go to Bushido, mate. Are you excited to see this co-op come to Halo? And do you think that they should have focused on the desync issue instead of co-op? What's your take on that?
Oh, it's funny you just mentioned that because that was one of the things I was going to bring up. I don't know if it's a separate team or not, but that and the other issue you have with there are certain, I don't know if you guys have run into this, but there are certain Mjolnir chests that like aren't on the map. And so I was looking it up saying like, hey, maybe I just can't find it. That's just on me. And I found that there was an issue that people were having with finding them. Like they're just not there. So I was like, well, I got 97% of it. It says I would like to close that out. And it's, as far as I know, still hasn't been fixed. So there are certain issues I would like to get fixed. But as far as co-op is concerned, I'm glad to see it for other people. It doesn't do anything for me right now. But I am glad to see that's fixed because the first time you step out on the Halo ring and you take a few steps, you're like, this really, really, really would have benefited from having co-op.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was. Like, I'm not even a co-op guy with Halo, but immediately it hit me like, yeah, co-op would have been nice right about now, just for the simple fact the world is big as it is, and you can go this way, I go that way, and I think it adds a different element to the game. But I am willing to help anybody if they want to run through their campaign or anything. I don't have a problem with it. I love the game. Love the game. I had to stop from going back in to get, picking up other stuff. And the other thing too was the radio towers too, the propaganda towers. Like, I think it's missing 2 of those. And I'm like, why is it missing? So I'm kind of like, I'm really, really starting to develop not disdain, but anger towards 343, because I haven't been jumping on them, but I cannot sit back and not jump in now when people start to jump in on them, because it's like, it just comes up really inept. And I'm wondering if it's like Risky keeps saying, if it's Bonnie Ross.
Well, it's got to be. Look, we know it's management. Yeah. Sorry, Umbra. You go. It's management.
Brought up that name. Uh-oh.
Don't you invoke that name, she who shall not be named.
Buddy!
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, we know it's got to be a management issues, because we don't listen. I don't think 343 are bad devs. I don't think anybody who get into this industry are just terrible, right? It's got to be a management issue, and I don't know if it's even just solely Bunny. But the problem is that she's the head of it, so you have to go to the head, because if she's not, getting the people under her in order, then you have to go to her. It's the same thing with if it was Phil, he'd have to go to Matt Booty and so on and so forth. But beyond that, yeah, I feel you on it, Bushido, because it's like when people bring that up about 343, I used to be a big 343 apologist. Now I can't do that so much because they've put the foot in their mouth, or they at least taken steps back when they should have taken steps forward. So It's unfortunate, but on this whole thing with the co-op situation, I'm happy for that. And I think, just to Risk's question when he asked, should they have focused on this versus desync? Absolutely this. Desync can wait, I think, because this is something that should have been at launch at the very least. And desync isn't so dramatically bad that it hinders my enjoyment in multiplayer.
I could get that.
Yeah,
it's not horrible, but it is. Because me and Riskin know, I've seen enough of Riskin's gameplay to see if, especially for him. But yeah, it is an issue, but it's not game breaking.
Exactly.
But it's an annoyance when it does happen.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating at most. It is frustrating, and there's nothing worse than punching through someone and hearing the sound that you've just smacked them in the face and it just not registering. It's one of those like
satisfaction,
Yeah, it really, really does, and it kind of it puts the games. Takes the skill out of the game and kind of lays it at the feet of luck, and I don't like that because I'm a very skillful player. Meshing around. Look, what's your take on co-op? Do you think that we should be focusing on desync? Are you excited about the co-op? Do you want the co-op more than you're worried about the desync? What's your thoughts?
And Halo, I'm more of a campaign guy versus multiplayer, but. So yeah, co-op would be cool, but I think the problem with Halo Infinite is the cross-gen nature of it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been no other Halo that's been cross-gen, right? I mean, you had the Master Chief Collection, but I'm saying at launch,
no, Halo 4 was strictly for Xbox One, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
You're right.
So that's what I'm saying. So like so they have so much work. They have Xbox One, 1S, 1X, PC, Series S, Series X, xCloud, right? So they have all those things that they had to develop for, and I think instead of doing that, they should have just focused. You don't make your flagship game cross-gen. That should never happen, especially with the delay. They should have. I mean. I understand that, I'm not trying to do the whole crap gamer thing that people shouldn't have, access on Xbox One, but they should have did a flight sim thing and give them campaign on xCloud and, call it a day. If they wanted multiplayer, they needed, next gen box, because I don't feel like, that people have attached to it like they did in the past because of the fact that so much stuff is not only left out, but so much stuff, launched broken. So yeah, co-op definitely for me. I want to see what that is like, and Halo Infinite. I haven't played every single Halo, but I know I tried to go back to Halo 5, and I didn't have the grapple, and I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because I was in a space the other day, Tech, and they were like, "Hey, man, we want to have a community night with Halo MCC?" And I was like, kind of.
Yeah.
I love Halo 3. Halo 3 is my favorite in the franchise, but it's kind of hard to go back from what we can do and how we move and shoot in Infinite versus that.
Valorian in the chat here, guys. He said it became a drinker. I believe he's talking about the Melee desync. He said, "Yep, it became a drinker game for me. Every time I hear the thud and it actually missed, I take a shot. I woke up 3 days later to a health check." Yeah, it's
having his stomach pumped.
it's a bit it's a bit like that. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just a shame. We've been talking to we're blue in the face about all these things, and I think the whole community is, and it's actually becoming a less and less of a conversational piece within Twitter and out in the wider community, except amongst the Halo fans that have stuck around, because everyone's just sick of the excuses. Everyone's just sick of the missteps. Everyone's sick of everything that 343 has done this generation. And I think the main issue is that they made such a great game. It's a shame to let it just, it's withering away slowly and dying. And it is just such a shame. Pete, you were going to say?
Yeah, no, you're right, Risket. You're absolutely right. They have made a great game, and that is why it's so unfortunate. And no one's talking about it in the community because no one's really playing it, mate. And I wanted to say one further thing, and I don't want to end on a negative, but yes, they're bringing co-op campaign. It's not split screen. We still don't know when split screen's coming. So supposedly campaign network co-oping is coming in August fully after the beta in July. And hopefully we're getting split screen co-op in September. But I don't know about you guys. Sitting down next to your friend or your partner and playing Halo split screen, it's just so much fun. And it's just not there. It's disappointing.
Everything about this game has become disappointing. We'll move on to the next topic. Guys, I just thank the chat once again. You guys are absolutely amazing. Keep it going. What did you guys think? What would you prefer? I'll put a poll in the chat in a minute, and you can answer the question. Did you guys want to see the desync fixed, or did you want to see co-op join the game? Which was more important to you? We'll move into the next topic, which is Soul. Before I do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll move into the next topic. Sony dives into PC peripherals with, I believe it's called InZone. They're making monitors, headsets, and all sorts of other things. And my kind of interest in this topic, and look, it does look like it's a decent monitor. My interest in this topic is that they seem to be doubling down on their PC market. And this is just more proof that I think exactly what I said, when they started bringing games, Horizon and that to PC, that I think that we'll see Wolverine go day and date on PC. I think they will develop that game for both sides of the fence. I think it'll be for PlayStation, it'll be for PC. I think we'll definitely see a day and date Wolverine, whether it goes day and date on PS Plus, I don't know. I think it will. I think they're stupid not to, but look, it's good to see. I think this is a positive for Sony. I think it's an area, a market that they haven't truly tapped yet. And when they start going day and date, things are going to, I think, really improve for Sony in that market. You might see sales upwards of what they've been picking up, which haven't been bad sales either on PC. Umbra, do you think that this is PlayStation starting to move into that PC market, starting to try to corner that market? Do you think we'll see a store? What do you think is going to come from Sony's involvement in PC?
I'm not too sure about a store. I don't think they're going to get that heavily invested. I think that'll cost much more money than they're willing to put into that. But as far as the tech and everything, Sony has always been one of the top, hardware providers, I think. So this is not surprising to me. And looking at these monitors that they put out, they're pretty solid. I had a talk with somebody in the chat, and they were talking about how you can get all of this technology for a fair price. So I think it's fairly priced, and it looks pretty solid. I have no issues with it. But the thing for me is that even though I have a gaming PC, I'm much more of a console gamer. So it just doesn't appeal to me, I guess. So, but other than that, I don't know. I applaud them with that. I don't know what it means to anything else other than them, continuing their stride in hardware making. So I don't know if it means anything as far as gaming and what they're going to provide toward the PC landscape.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see where they take it. I mean, there has been a lot of talk about a store. It's more speculation. There's no rumors. I think it would be a bad move for Sony to try to add a store into that ecosystem when you've already got Epic, you've already got Steam. But these peripherals look like, you're right, Umbra. They do make quality hardware. And look, if they made hardware, I don't think they ever will, for Xbox, I would be happy to go and buy that. I know, Pete, that you have a Sony TV, but I'll go to Doom. Doom, have you used any of Sony's products? Do you think that this is Sony starting to step heavily into that PC market and focus on them?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good move for them. I have a feeling that maybe they invested their money in here rather than into their PS Plus, perhaps. And look, the hardware looks good. It looks solid. Like Umbra said, I do like so the highest tier headphones, they're $450, but they have a really interesting feature, which is actually a 10-minute quick charge. So I'm not sure what percentage of battery that actually gets your headset to, but I know I've had times where I've had to plug my headset in. So, like, while I've been playing, so having a 40-hour battery life and all that sort of thing is actually it looks quite good. Also, they have a dual dongle connectivity, so you can have it connected to the PS5 and to the PC at the same time.
A dual what?
Dual connectivity, dongle connectivity.
Dongle.
She said dual, but she sounds like she's saying jewel. She's saying jewel.
Two dongles just going at it. Look, Mr.
So you can be connected to your PC and your guys.
And your phone as well. That's like the Arctis SteelSeries, right? The Arctis SteelSeries does also do that. But apparently there's connectivity issues with that, and that's an interesting way.
I am a little bit scared on the monitors. So the back supports look like toothpicks or skewers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what they're made of, but I'm a little bit scared.
I'm the only one that knows that.
So you're not, yeah. So Bushido, you also obviously think that it looks like a bit of a toothpick. Do you think that anything is going to come of this for Sony? Do you think it's going to be something that'll be successful for them and they'll stick with in the future?
I think you hit the nail right on the head with the fact that this really shows you that day and date will eventually happen with their PC ports, because they're going all in on PC, and you wouldn't even think that they would even go into the monitor field right there. That to me is a big sign of saying that, hey, look, we're here for you guys, and so look, this is what we're doing. The 40 hours with the headset is cool. I don't like the way they look, though. I don't know what it is with those headsets. And headsets, who cares what they look like? But for some reason, I don't like the way they look. They look like the old disco headphones from when I was younger in the 70s. But oh,
wow. Did you just say you're in your 70s?
No, I said in the 70s.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
In my 70s. Sure.
It's all right.
So I have to say, Pete, you got yourself a playmate. You're 75, and right, according to Risk.
I thought it was 93, but
you guys can hang out and have like virtual coffees together and talk about what it was like back in the day when you had onions tied together.
We hate everything. I have to tell them, hold on for a second. Hold on a second. There's some kids on my lawn. Give me a second.
What's all this you doing? What's that moving back there? What you call it? Twerking?
Hey, I'm on my porch right now, making sure no one's doing any funny business, mate.
Stop shaking your tush.
Get off my damn porch.
To have LAN parties inside juke joints.
Sugar shacks and juke joints.
Yeah, look, pulling it back to the topic, guys. Bushido, what you said exactly. I mean, you agreed with me, so I'm never going to disagree with someone agreeing with me, and I think that that's what everyone should do. But look, Mesh, we'll go to you. Do you think that we'll see Sony really start to double down if this in-zone, terrible name by the way, these in-zone peripherals start to take off? Do you think we'll see that Sony really put their foot hardcore into PC?
You have to remember that they've done this before. Remember the Vio brand and the Trinitron brand?
Yeah, but they weren't super successful, right? They weren't. They didn't.
They failed.
Trinitron was pretty good. Yep.
Yeah, they had the Trinitron monitors. They were the first. You remember the CRTs? They were the first flat screen CRT monitors.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I had one.
Yeah,
they were heavy. They were twice as heavy than a freaking air conditioner.
It's crazy how heavy those things used to be back then.
Yeah.
They've been here before, but they had to get rid of their business because they were, losing so much money at that time with PS3 and everything. They were actually in the negative for like 4 years straight. And so I think they're coming back to, old Sony where they have their hands in everything. And when, like you were saying that day and date, they're going to have to compete heavy with Microsoft and Microsoft has already stated that they've moved beyond that. So yeah, they're trying that. They're like, look at me. And I think that's, where they're going with that. They make good, I have a pair of their noise canceling headphones I can't find them, but I have a pair.
How much do they mean to you?
They're so quiet you can't even find them.
No,
I
think they grew legs. Honestly, I think they grew legs.
I love that thing.
Yeah, man. And I mean,
I had a Sony Walkman too.
Wait a minute, Jedi, you still have a Walkman right now?
I do have.
Don't answer that, Jedi.
I keep all my stuff, mate.
So you really are 75.
I had a mini.
I still got the tapes that go with it.
You know what? I had a cassette. I had a cassette Walkman as well, and I had a disc one as well. And if you like jumped up down the or like when you were dancing, it skipped or like scratched the CD.
See, but yours was passed down to you. Yours was passed down to you from an elder.
You had a CD Walkman. I had a tape Walkman that
I had a cassette one, and then I had a CD one.
Yeah, you had to wind it back with a pencil, like when it chewed up the tape, and you just hoped that it didn't go that little bit there.
You know what? You'd have
Risky
to wait
knows it because he used to make little tapes for his girl.
Yeah, I used to like tape it on the radio station, and then when Britney Spears would come on, yeah, and I used to record it, and then my little brother would tape over it because we had it was like a toy, I think, and you could record your voice over tape.
So, Cutie, you were over there recording some Britney Spears talking about some "Oops, I did it again."
Hit me, baby, one more time, thank you. But then my brother, would like all of a sudden, like record his voice over the top.
Oh, that's gold.
I would be so mad. Oh my. Imagining like what an 8-year-old do me, just like
that is absolute gold. I never thought of that with my brother. I just used to sprinkle sand in his bed with a teaspoon, so he didn't know what the hell was going on. So yeah,
that sounds horrific.
That is horrific. You try getting into bed with a whole bunch of sand in there, and you don't know where it's coming from.
See, man, like me personally, I'm through with Sony. I have a few Sony things. I spent thousands of dollars on Sony stuff in the past, and their customer service is horrible.
It's true.
And
that is true.
Yeah, I 3 Sony Vio laptops. They didn't support. They said they were going to go to the next version of Windows. Didn't even release drivers for my TV. They decided not to support it after they pushed an update that bricked it. It's the only thing I've had good success with is their high-end headphones and their cameras. And yeah, I'm moving on, man.
So it's safe to say then that tech-wise, they make great products or decent products, but the follow-up when it comes to customer service and updates and stuff is terrible.
That's exactly what I was going to say about their previous step into the peripherals is that when you buy into that hardware, it's an investment. It's not just a one-time buy. You're investing in that hardware, and like you said, they don't support it very well. But Pete, you were going to say that you've loved their TV. You'd love Sony. You've decided to become a pony. You're buying a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, look, I mean, the reason I bought my X900H, and I don't know if you guys remember, everyone was raving about these TVs when they first came out because they all meant to be, one of the first TVs that were next gen ready, 120 hertz, 4K, VRR, and a LLM coming. In future software updates. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is they brought auto low latency mode, but the variable refresh rate just wasn't implemented great, and you lose auto local dimming and extended dynamic range if you do want to implement it, which is incredibly disappointing. In saying that, I love my TV. For the price that I got it at, a 75-inch, Sony TV, I can get 4K, I get 120 hertz. Yeah, it's no OLED. At an OLED, I would have paid double and a little bit more for what I got. So for the value for money, I think it was fantastic, and I haven't had a problem with it. I've been incredibly happy with it. Sony, the brand in the 80s was, it was it, mate. Sony was where it was at. They were
Yep.
the Apple of its day with Walkmans and TVs, and if a new Sony product came out, you had to get it. Unfortunately, they fell away a little bit there. I do believe that they are coming back. They've got new management there. They know what they're good at, and these devices pretty much show that they do seem to be incredibly good value. I don't particularly like the look of the headsets, but in saying
Yeah,
that,
man.
yeah, I do think that they're good value, and Sony are very, very good at making headphones as well. Like they've always been excellent at it.
Oh no,
Their
they still
noise
are.
cancelling
Yeah.
headphones are some of the best that you can still get out there in the market. In terms of the gaming monitors, that's not something that I know too much about. For everything I've heard, 27 inches. They've got two different variants. One that can do 1440p at 120 hertz, and the
How come
other
the
one
console
that
can't
can
do
do
that yet?
Yeah, can I
yeah,
just make a
yeah.
request? Can we stop talking about the inches? It's a bit of a sore subject with me.
Yeah.
It's,
The
Wait,
other one
sorry,
can
how
do.
many inches did you say again?
I was going to say, I'm
Oh.
confident on this end, Risk. I can't speak for you, my Australian brother.
it's because it's always so cold in the water over here. Is the anyway? Moving on, Pete. You were talking about
Don't take
monitors.
swimming, everyone. I'm just going to be real disappointed.
The other one can do 1080p with 240 hertz, and they do have pretty good peak brightness at 400 and 600 nits respectively, and they also have HDR. So for what you're getting, it's good. What I find funny, but is that they are G-Sync compatible, and both Xbox and PlayStation doesn't have G-Sync compatibility in their consoles. And it's a massive misstep on Sony's TV that they don't have either AMD's or Nvidia's VRR implementation. They only have their HDMI 2.1 implementation, and the chips they put in their TVs and various other products just don't implement it very well at all. So I did find that a little bit funny. Yeah, in saying that, I think Sony are pretty good at making hardware. Does this mean that they're moving more into the PC market? I don't think so. We've seen it from them before, but I did say that they are now focusing on what was successful for them in the past, and I think that they're moving more in that direction now.
No, Pete, sorry, I'm just going to disagree with you. I'm sorry. Because
You're all, mate. Good.
the lower
You're all good.
price monitor is designed for PCs specifically. So, and with them moving some games to PC, I think I think they are trying to get into the PC market a lot more than they used to, and I don't see why not.
The problem I find with them is that outside of headphones, because it makes them outstanding headphones or headsets. The issue with them is they've overpriced their value for so many years that you've allowed the competitor to catch up with you in quality and price. So you're not the best anymore in the industry in TVs, sound equipment, and things like that. So now there are so many good cheap options. Look, TCL makes I bought this TV just as a stopgap until I could buy my QLED, my OLED. So I bought a TCL QLED. I read great reviews about it, but I was like, we'll see, but it was only $500, and I figured I'd pass it down to my daughter, and she has it. And I have to admit, it was spectacular. It was really, really good.
Products. Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
listen, so that's what I'm saying. They priced themselves out of, they overvalued themselves and priced themselves out and allow competition, and a lot of competition, to raise the bar and step in and fill that gap. And now they're not necessarily the first choice anymore, or third or fourth choice. LG is really stepping
no
that
longer charge a premium anymore as
Right.
well.
And it's something that we're seeing them do with their gaming console as well. They're not keeping up with the market. They're not keeping competitive. And you're absolutely right, Bushido, on the head, mate. That seems to be their whole one of their main issues within their marketing strategy, their business strategy, within all of their departments. It seems to be a thing where they're like, okay, we've got the name, let's start charging for the name, and then we don't have to watch the market anymore. But you always have to watch the market.
You always have to. You're 100%. And it seemed like they allowed everybody to get up to the point it's late now.
Sorry, Meshing, you're right. You wanted to say?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over anyone.
No, you're right. You go.
No, bro. I was done. That was it. I'm sorry.
BlackBerry, the name. Nokia, the name.
Mm-hmm.
Gateway, the name. Dell. I mean, they're the shells of their former selves, or they don't exist anymore. And it's unfortunate, but Sony is getting beaten in many ways by Samsung and LG, and then they're taking other sectors from other people. So they're trying to, I think, get back to where they used to be. And I think they got too big too fast.
Samsung and LG are beating them significantly in the TV market. I mean, let's call it what it is.
All my TVs are Samsung.
Mm-hmm.
They my monitors,
they buy LG panels for their OLED. Sony's OLEDs they're buying LG panels. Samsung is now going to make OLED and get away. And then Sony is trying to, they're going to do their quantum, their QOLED, OLED, their quantum dot OLED that they're coming with. But yeah, it's crazy. Like their projectors, I remember I wanted a Sony projector, and then they're just so overpriced. Their computers were overpriced when they had everything that they have, I guess with the exception of their cameras and their headphones, is overpriced.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
TCL are going to be doing a QLED, what is it, quantum dot OLED or whatever it is, at a much more competitive price. And everything we've heard about that, it just seems to be blowing away the competition for the price. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You can no longer charge. Yeah, you can no longer charge a premium for the Sony name. And what they've always been better at, and what TCL still can't do, is keep up with customer, so if you're going to call them up with customer care and things like that, and software updates, and that's where Sony does have a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, and that's the problem that Sony's had for quite some time. I mean, if you want to talk about their customer care, we saw something on Twitter earlier this week where a mother of her son, his account was locked out, and he could not get back into his account, and it was hacked, and they locked it out. And the reason they locked it out is because it was hacked, and he's got no chance of recovering his account now. And that means he also loses all of his digital games. So everything that he had purchased on that console is gone, and it's just goes to Sony's customer service, and that's something they need to fix, as well as their pricing. And you're right about TCL. You're right, and Hisense as well make a fantastic TV.
Yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't compete on the level. I mean, their Q dot does actually compete on a level, but it's not. It's a budget TV, and it does some amazing things for its price. It's not a C1, but it is an amazing TV. And Sony's got, they're getting pushed further and further out of the market, and they're not approaching it from a standpoint of we need to be competitive. They approach it from a standpoint of we have the name and we don't need to be competitive, which is the wrong way to go. Look, I will move on to the next topic. Before I do, guys in the chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining us this week and giving us your takes in the chat. And let us know, are you guys interested in buying a Sony monitor, or is it something that you would look at, a Sony headset? They do make wonderful sound equipment. I'll give them that. And please hit that like button and subscribe. But we move on to the next thing. And this is a bit of no one's talked about this or noticed this. And it's something that I just noticed when I was just kind of flicking through the internet, and I found it kind of pop up, and I thought it was interesting, so I bring it up. The developers Splash Damage are actually working on 3 unannounced UE5 games. This is something I brought it up on screen here so you guys can read what they've written. But what they have written was, we've worked on some of the world's biggest IP. They've worked on Gears of War, and they did work on the Gears of War 3 and 4 multiplayer, is their involvement there. And they actually developed Gears Tactics. They worked on Halo, Batman. I believe that was the original Batman, Arkham Asylum or whatever. Arkham Origins, I think it was called. And they worked on Wolfenstein way back in the day, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And what they're saying here is we worked on Batman, Wolfenstein, while building our own unique worlds in games like Brink and Dirty Bomb. A year and a half ago, we joined the Tencent family. Bit of a shame there. And we're now working on several big, ambitious multiplayer games that we think will leave their mark on the industry. We've got full creative control, the latest tech with Unreal Engine 5, and some of the industry's brightest people to help us make it all happen. This is your chance to make your mark, blah, 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 blah. It's a job posting that I happened to come across. And I just wanted to highlight it on the show because I think it's really exciting to see that there are other studios outside of first party, and these guys used to work closely with Microsoft, and it's a bit of a shame that they weren't acquired by Microsoft, that we've got games coming from these third-party studios to all markets using UE5. So I just thought that was really amazing. I'm super excited. I'm a massive Gears fan, a massive Gears Tactics fan. Basically anything Gears, maybe not Judgment. And look, I'll go to Pete because I know that Pete does not play Gears, has never played Gears in his life. Maybe after hearing this announcement, he will try playing Gears. Hopefully, we try to talk him into it. He always says no. And so I just want to know if this would bring Pete to Gears. Will he stop playing Fortnite to play Gears?
Right.
I hate you all.
You don't. You
Yeah,
love
I love Gears. I have played a little. Sorry, Doomy. Sorry. I love Gears. I haven't played that much of Gears Tactics. I've played a little bit of it. The story so far is amazing. The character customization is amazing. I think the characters in general are amazing, and so I do want to get back to it. And Risset's told me nothing but good things. It's just that gameplay, that RTS or whatever you want to classify it as, doesn't generally appeal to me. In saying that, Microsoft have used this specific developer for a long time. So if you look back at their history, Microsoft have used them on a number of their big franchises like Gears, Halo, big time. They used them with Gears Tactics. And so it was a big loss, I think, when they were acquired by Tencent. But you know what? It allows this studio to grow. Everything they've shown so far is they're incredibly talented. Now that they're making 3 of their own games, so I'm incredibly excited to see where they can go. All in Unreal Engine 5 makes me even more excited. So yeah, it's still a wait and see. I think they've proven themselves with their history, and I'm glad that they're able to come out and be able to express themselves now more with their own IPs.
Instead of supporting other, with their own IPs and supporting other studios. Amber, is this something, these games, they said they're multiplayer, so 3 of them in UE5, is that something that you'll be dipping into and keeping an eye on as these guys develop their own IPs?
Yeah, with Splash Damage, I mean, I got love for them, but it's like Pete said, they've only been really working on their side projects. The Gears Tactics is the only one that I can think of that they were like the main one outside of some smaller game. I believe it was, I forgot the name of it, but anything else, they were just assisting. So I'm not too sure one way or another, but I'm pretty sure they're capable devs. So I look forward to seeing what they do. And Unreal Engine 5 is going to be crazy this gen. So I'm looking forward to it in general. I don't know what they're going to pull out. Hopefully it's something major. I don't know who's going to fund them. So I know that Tencent has them now, so I'm not sure what the funding will be. So I don't know if it'll stay to the AA or what, but we will see. I'm hyped for any new possible IPs and such always.
Yeah, they are a sizable studio, so they've got 200 devs under their belt. I think that's just from memory. And they are hiring more and more devs, so it seems like they do have the funding to make that big AAA release. Yeah, look, I've got to be honest, I'm a Gears Tactics simp, really. Love that game. It's amazing. Mashing around, is this something that you would be interested in playing? Have you played Gears Tactics? Gears? I think you mentioned that you did play a lot of Gears multiplayer, or is that incorrect? Was that not you?
Yeah, I play Gears 5. Gears Tactics, I downloaded it, turned it on, and deleted it.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know. A game has to capture me like from the very beginning, and I might like it. I might go back in and like it because games, have captured me like that before. But typically, if there's a lot of, I'm going to teach you how to do this, teach you how to do that. Here's a story without, a huge cinematic. I'm kind of like, So I kind of sometimes I just kind of want to jump in, but. Yeah, no, it just depends. Like those type of games, I will tend to play on my PC, and then like the Command and Conquer top-down view type thing, you know. And yeah, Gears 5 is that's where I'm currently at.
Yeah, you'll
I'd
have
like to see.
Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, I'd like to see a continuation of that and a longer, more open, story. Some. I think Hivebusters was great graphically, but I think it just needed, more. But I feel like it should have built on, more of the other characters, like what happened in between when JD got hurt and they went off on their own to, search for her mother and stuff like that. And
yeah, well, that skip of that they did was it seemed like a change in direction from the studio, and I didn't like it. I didn't like that they switched the story and started focusing on Kate. It didn't make sense to me to go from, hey, here's a story about Marcus Phoenix, and then, hey, we're switching to JD. That makes sense. And then, hey, we're just going to jump over here. But if you play a little bit of Gears Tactics, it does give you kind of a backstory for the Diaz's, because that's Gabe Diaz, and that's her father in there. So it does give you a little bit of a lead into Gears 5, which is cool. But yeah, the game itself was absolutely amazing, and I think Gears as a whole is amazing. I didn't like the direction they went in 5. Doom Cutie.
What was the one with Baird on the cover?
That's Judgment, I think.
That was awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, we don't talk about Judgment.
You're right.
That was People Can Fly, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
always the Phoenix story, and before Marcus, I mean, if you go back, it was about Adam Phoenix as well, and then it was about Marcus, and the story was meant to be about JD. But if you go back and look at that period, Microsoft was crying out for a female protagonist, and they went to their go-to studio as always,
so true.
The Coalition, and the Coalition delivered for them. I mean, Kate is a great character. I mean, I would prefer it to be about JD, but I think it was under the direction of Microsoft to why they did that.
Yeah, they've ruined JD now. Like, he's basically turned into an absolute dick, I think is the word for it.
You know what? I still like JD though. Am I the only one?
Yeah,
I didn't
like JD, but look, I mean, let's face it. Depending on what you chose, he might not be in the next one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who's dead?
Yeah,
I wonder how they're going to handle that.
Look, I'm going to jump to Doom Cutie and bring it back to the topic
right.
of.
I didn't know that because I haven't played it. Or no, actually, I have, and the person that really hasn't played it is the guy that keeps saying this crap.
Yeah, I have played it, finished it many, many times, and Pete actually got someone to play it for him. So if you check his account, don't be fooled. I'm going to jump.
You know what? You know who really hasn't played it? me.
That's what I was going to jump to. You haven't played Gears of War. Is this something that you're going to follow up on and want to play? It is co-op. We can jump in and have a great time with you while we play it.
I would like that. I would actually like that a lot. My goal, and I've said this before, my goal this year was to become better at shooting games. So yeah, I would love to jump into this. I hear you guys talking about it all the time. And yeah, I think it would be good to see this implemented in the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And are you excited for splash damage? Can I convince you to play Gears Tactics, or is that just not going to happen?
I don't know what the difference is between Gears of War and Gears Tactics.
Oh my god! No, it's so one's a TTS, tactical turn-based shooter. So it's when you make this.
So that's why you like it. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a thinking man's game. That's why Pete doesn't like it very much. Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, I mean, coming from a guy who's never played Gears, I suppose you could say that. So
yes, I'll definitely play it, and this is great. It's a great addition to an iconic series.
It is iconic.
Monad, how could you, mate? How could you, mate?
All of them are on Game Pass.
I think you're the only one, Monad, to be honest.
He killed JD. Good work, mate. Good work. He turned into a dick at the end.
What would you all say is the best Gears in the series? I say part 3.
Yeah, I was about to say 3.
Too easily.
I would say 2. 2 was my favorite.
Too easily.
Actually, you know what? One was awesome because of just the first time you step into that Gears universe with that control scheme, it's just like, holy yeah, you know what I mean? Everyone was playing that game. So good.
It was so dope for me because when it was first introduced, they actually came to Chicago, the devs, and they had it on a big screen inside of a movie theater. So I got to play it on a movie screen theater. It was dope.
Did you meet Cliffy B? Cliffy B was also a big. Cliffy B.
I met the producers. Yeah. I met the producers, I was saying.
Oh, cool.
Probably
Pete.
3, I think, is after Dom dies. You're like, if you're playing it co-op, which I did, I played the whole game's co-op with a partner. They lose their character, and it loses its luster after that. I played as Marcus, so it wasn't bad for me, but for my gaming partner that I played with, it was, the game lost its luster for that person. And I can see that if you played Dom the whole way through.
Oh, you've just spoiled it for everyone. Messing around.
No spoilers, guys. Come on.
Messing around. You were going to say, mate. Sorry, we cut you off there.
I don't want to spoil it, but I forget numbers of games a lot or whatever. I remember the plot. The emulsion was 3, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but also too, like, don't forget when Dom's wife, what happens to her?
Spoilers, Pete. Spoilers.
Impactful. I didn't say what happened.
I mean, yeah, that was impactful, but what part happened in part 3 was more impactful.
Yeah.
Not to
and
mention
the
they had the music kick in with the.
Well done. Yeah.
I don't understand why they keep killing people off, man.
Well, you gotta
that's
kill your babies
something
as
that
they
they
say.
don't do in games anymore, and I appreciate that. I think it brings back that
Attention.
impactful factor to the game.
It does.
It's
Lost actually does.
It's the Game of Thrones of video gaming
these days.
Game of Thrones. Yep.
But the bigger thing is too, it shows that it's bigger stakes involved, and on top of that, it made sense. The way if you play part 2 and then you see how badly it affected what's his name?
People.
So it made sense, you know what I mean? How he would be in the mood he was in.
Do you think killing off characters makes like the replayability of games? Like, do you think it makes it better? Like, you'll go back and you'll be like, okay, I'll start it again and not kill this person, or try not to kill this person.
If you got the option to save them,
you don't have the
If you got the option, absolutely. Like if you play those Bethesda games,
is a great
or Mass Effect,
that,
exactly.
Yeah. I'm just gonna let you guys know that Caden died every time. I never kept him alive.
Every time.
That was such a boring character.
The reason for that is because she looks so damn good in number 3. She's a bitch, and she's a bigot.
She's a what?
Damn, she looks good in 3.
Really good in 3. She looked better in 2.
Hold
But when she got in the 3, I was like, I think I'll romance her next time.
All
I need to
right.
look her up. Hold on.
All right, look, we're going to move on topics because this is leading to another area of topic talk. And look, if you guys are in the chat, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your opinions and your takes on our topics today. Please hit the like, please hit that subscribe button, share us out. And look, there's just a couple of small topics left that I wanted to cover this week. And one of them was Blizzard acquiring Spellbreak. Now, obviously, Blizzard's part of ABK, Activision Blizzard King, which is being acquired by Microsoft. And look, what they've done is they've acquired it's Vicarious Visions. They've acquired this studio and then basically folded them in as a support studio. I think this is bad. This is a bad thing to do. Buying up a studio just purely to support your other studios is bad business practice. This company has remastered some really good games, and they've created some really good games. And it's just a bit of a shame to know that these guys will not be working on any new IP. And I hate seeing this. And I really hope that when Microsoft takes over ABK, that this becomes a thing of the past for those studios, because it seems to be. Vicarious Visions was the previous studio that they did this, and it became Blizzard Albany. Yeah, so I mean, just acquiring studios and busting them down into support studios, just a bad practice. I think hire devs, out from outside and build your own studios. Don't ruin, AA studios that could one day be something absolutely amazing. And Spellbreak wasn't a terrible game. So
I will say, they've come out and they've actually spoken about this, and they weren't able to have a sustainable breakthrough. Like, they weren't in a sustainable place, and they wanted to invest more and they wanted to do more. So I think being acquired will help them do that. Like, it'll look different, possibly, but I think that smaller studios are realizing that they realize that Microsoft does actually support.
Yeah, but Doomy, this is, sorry to cut you off. This is Blizzard, so it's not quite Microsoft yet, and they can't really have anything to do with the studios. And what they've done is folded this studio into a support role. So you won't get any more games from this studio itself.
Well, we don't know that to be sure, Risk. But the thing is that now they're going to be under Microsoft eventually anyway. They can absolutely appeal to them if that was going to be the case to get more done. But I think that Blizzard being going to have their own anonymity when it comes to certain things, obviously, well, not anonymity, but their own direction on how they want to handle things. But like she said, if they're okay with it, I'm not going to be arguing like, how dare they, if they're coming out and saying we're good with this is what we wanted, we couldn't be sustained.
But Umbra,
I'm not mad at that.
But Umbra, you're not going to have a studio that's just been acquired coming out and going, we didn't want to be acquired. We hate our new bosses. They're all assholes.
They can make a stink. They could absolutely make a stink, though, if they didn't want that. If they didn't want to be acquired, we did not agree to this.
They could, but they're unlikely to do so because, that's when you get a job, you usually want to keep it. I
get that, but then let's put it like this. They didn't have to say a word then, if that's
true.
The case.
That's true. That's a good point.
So that's why I think it's a positive in that factor. But I'll say this, too. I don't care for Battle Royales, and I never played that Spellbreak game. I'm sure those who did like it feel away, but it never mattered to me. But I think that them adding into what Blizzard is, because Blizzard has taken a toll over the years as far as dev time on making other games and things like this. So I can only see this as a positive for more bigger and greater output for games and things like that in services as far as Blizzard games go, from Diablo to WoW and everything else.
And I think Secret Service brings out a great point. So what about the people that are invested into Spellbreak? And I know it's not a huge game, but from everything I've heard about the game, it is very competent. It's very well done. That now has been said that they're shutting down early 2023. So that game is now gone because of this acquisition. And I think Risket's right. So they're just going to be a help studio now. Therefore, they're not going to get to make their own IPs. And we lose another talented developer.
I don't see it about us lost. I don't think it's lost at all. It's not like they just disappeared. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're gone.
Yeah,
and we don't know.
They're not fired.
Right. They're not fired or dissipated. Exactly. Yeah. And that is the word, by the way, Pyro. Thank you for that, brothers. Autonomy. That's what I was trying to say. I don't see this as a negative, honestly. And I think that we know with the new things going on with Blizzard and ABK and in general with the whole what's the word I'm looking for? With the union situation and everything like that they're working on with Raven and all these, but I don't think it's going to be some type of negative for them.
Yeah,
So
Umber, we've had this discussion before when it came to Call of Duty, and I have heard you say that you don't want all these studios to be working on.
But those are
Call
different
of Duty
studios, though.
independently.
Yeah,
If you want them
but
to be able to branch
that's
out and make their own IP, so
but
what's
that's
the
but
difference?
see, there you go.
What's the
That's
difference with Polaris or whatever
I'll
the
tell
hell
you
they're
why.
called?
I'll tell you why it's different. For one, you talking about Raven. You talking about Raven Software. You talk about Beanox. You talk about Toys for Bob. These are all studios that made games, quality games that they're undeniable. Spellbreak had a small contingent of fans compared to those, whereas Raven actually gave us legendary games like X-Men Legends. Yeah, I want Raven to have their own. I want them to go back to making a licensed IP game. That makes more sense to me. Plus, that's like 6 devs on one game. That is the problem. With Blizzard, they have Diablo, they have WoW, they have so many other things that they could be working on as far as IP. So that's why I'm saying that this is a 100-man team or whatever. It's not as impactful as 6 quality devs working on just Call of Duty.
Let me
That's
just
the
jump.
problem.
Let me
That's
just jump in here,
difference for me.
guys, real quickly, because we do have to let Meshing Around go. So I just want to grab his take and then give him an outro, and then we'll continue on. Disagreeing with each other, which I love. I love when you guys get in the ring and start throwing punches. It's great. Meshing Around. Look, what's your take on it? Do you think it's bad for the industry when studios are getting acquired and you're losing IPs and the possibility for great IPs in the future from that studio when they get folded into a support situation?
I think it goes both ways. Honestly, I think Microsoft needs more support studios, because if they had more support studios, we wouldn't have the Halo Infinite situation. So,
amen.
But at the same time, you could be losing those IPs, or they could just pass those IPs to someone else. Because, I mean, if I recall, the last Fable wasn't made by Playground, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was Lionhead Studios, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll just move on to someone else, hopefully, if they don't drop the ball or whatnot. So yeah, it goes both ways. Sony has support studios, Nintendo has support studios, but Microsoft doesn't really. They just kind of share amongst each other. They need to have a dedicated studio for support. I want to be able to teabag somebody at 120 hertz, no lag. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, don't you know that that's sexual harassment? What are you talking about, Tech?
Catch more D's.
We'll jump into that in a minute, but for now, look, I just want to thank you for coming in, Tech Man, Meshing Around, however you're calling yourself, and giving us your take, especially with the FSR. That was a really amazing technical overview of what we're likely to see come from SFR 2.0. So that was fantastic, and it's always great to have you on the show, man. We really appreciate you coming on and giving us your time. I know it's precious. I will let you go, but before you do go, can you please just let people know where they can find you on Twitter, if they can find you anywhere else, and what you'll be playing for the next week?
I'm on Twitter at SameEnergy0, and I'm probably going to be, in Outriders there. So, looking at that World Slayer. Hopefully it comes to Game Pass, but if it doesn't in the next 5 minutes, I'm probably going to buy it. So.
No, World Slayer's not. Yeah, you have to pay for it. I had to too.
Yeah,
I hate your face.
in Australia as well, with the 10% discount.
Wait a minute. So also that's not included in it. Huh? You got to buy it, huh?
Yeah, you got to buy it.
Absolutely, guys. Look, I'll just we'll let Tech Talk head off. His Twitter account is linked in the chat. Please head there and follow him. He has awesome takes, and I don't think I've ever seen him lose a debate yet. So it's always interesting to watch when he goes head to head with someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, because that sort of stuff
Thank you so much for being here.
gives me a giggle.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys, and don't get discouraged out there. No, seriously, a serious note, man. Biscuit was saying, call this nonsense out. Put a stop to it. Let people be in their own, vacuum tube, their own, resounding bubble, and let them, talk to their own people. I used to not block certain people, but I mean, certain people, I just, after a while, I'll block them, because I don't have time for all that. So
absolutely,
energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you for coming through. Look, I'll jump back to.
Thanks for coming through, brother.
Yeah, I'll jump back.
Meet you, man.
Nice meeting you too.
I'll jump back to Umbra. Pete says that this is terrible for the industry. He agrees with me. So Pete is clearly right, and you're saying that it's probably a good thing for Microsoft and the industry as a whole, but it's disagreeing with me. So I have to say that's probably wrong.
Well, if you guys agree, then automatically I'm right. So yeah, two wrongs make me right.
Look, I'll grab Bushido. But look, Bushido.
I got Cutie on my side, so I'm winning already there. So yeah.
Okay, it's actually deadlocked right now, and Bushido must be the deciding factor. So Bushido, how do you think that this is going to play out in the industry, and do you think that this is a bad thing when we lose IPs, or maybe they won't get lost, but when we lose support for a game that's already out there, and basically we see Blizzard doing this quite a lot, where they'll buy up a studio or fold a studio into a support studio when realistically they should just build their own support studio and help to develop development studios, giving us more IPs, more games, and more jobs for the industry.
We saw how it worked out once trying to build your own studio. So, me personally, I'm on a little bit of a in between, and you guys can decide which one I fell on then, because when people were talking about acquiring the studios and they were saying it's bad for the industry, I just kept thinking to myself, to me, that gives them a lot more stability, especially with Microsoft or with PlayStation, because of the fact that you don't have to worry about footing the bill for the game, especially if you know that with your content, it isn't going to be necessarily held to how much we're making. It's just that the content comes out and the content is good, but it's not going to be held to how many you get sales and everything. Me personally, if you are a support crew and you were having problems making ends meet, yeah, I'm for it for the guys, because and the ladies, it's a little too difficult out there on your own, especially in the gaming industry with certain titans treating other studios certain ways, and how much you have to pay to have advertised on their store. There are a lot of things that are in the way for them or any studio, small studio, to make money. So whenever they get acquired, I'm a little bit more for that, even if it is in a supporting role, because even in a supporting role is very important, as we were saying too with Halo. If they had another support group, maybe everything would have went out a little faster. Of course, everything is, we're just speculating, but I still think that if they would have had a support group, though, that it would help them to move a lot of this stuff a lot faster.
Just to add to that, by the way, and this is why I think Cutie even sees it as I see it, because as they said, they came out in support of this. They're not going to co-sign something they're not part of, fond of or agreeing with, right? Because they could have just remained quiet.
Yep, I agree with that too.
Right. So that's one. Two, as she pointed out, as Doom Cutie pointed out, they couldn't sustain. They already acknowledged that. Now I just looked up the player concurrent count, right? Their average amount of players are 160 players. That's on Steam. They were not making it. They were going under. That much is certain. Their highest peak was 287 this year. Oh, excuse me, 309. 309 to be exact.
With them being acquired and them being support for, look, it could be just for now. That could be like that for just a couple of years. Look at Compulsion. Compulsion was acquired, and Compulsion has this idea, and Microsoft loved it, and now they're able to make their own AAA IP now. I think the same thing. I don't think the door is completely shut just because of this situation. I think that it gives you more life and time to be able to either get stable, get on your own feet, and do what you want to do, or stick with where you're at, and ask for more ability to do things.
That's right. And I'll add to that. We've had other studios who went to be support studios who went back to being their own independent thing. We've seen it happen before. That doesn't mean it's going to happen here, but it's not out of the possibilities either.
In the history,
exactly. And the thing is like you just said, the way I look at it is this: would you all be like, you can be like, oh, they got acquired by them, but then it's either that or they go under. what makes
Thunder,
more
yep.
Yeah,
sense?
right.
You see what I
And then
mean?
we lose
Yep.
that talent because
All together, yeah.
Exactly. You know,
so I
now
don't know. That's why I'm on the side of, I think, you know, if they're coming out saying something positive about it and they can see past, you know, oh, you know, we're just being folded in or whatever, you know, hearing the negativity. I think they're being positive about it, and I think, you know, why not? If it,
I agree.
yeah.
It's either be out in the street or be acquired. And believe me, I've been in a situation where, you know, you hope your job is going to stay solid. And when it does, you're like, oh, thank God. You're almost just glad that anything happened good, that you were able to keep your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could look at it that way, but it's not my way of thinking, so you guys are wrong.
Yeah, well, you're wrong, and it's 3 against 2. So I win.
Yeah, look
I
at
think we won Peter over because Pete got quiet. Pete was like, that's a good point, Mike. That's a good point, Mike. He didn't want to acknowledge it out loud, but he's like,
the
man,
children, Pete. Think of the children of those developers.
Yeah, look, I mean, the fact of the matter is developers are incredibly sought after at the moment. Never has there been a time that this many developers are being acquired in such a short period of time, and the price of those developers has skyrocketed. And if anyone's getting a more stable paycheck, and that's fantastic. I just don't like the fact that we're
you can
losing an
stop
IP.
there. No, Pete's not talking anymore. He yeah.
He agreed. Moving on. No. Look, I'm with you, Pete, all the way. I think it's sad to see an IP get shut down, and hopefully we'll see it again. And hopefully Microsoft will start using some of the Blizzard studios that they have a lot of support studios. I believe it was 17 support studios within ABK. I think it was something like that. So I mean, you know, now there's 18. So hopefully Microsoft, if Spellbreak comes to them and says, look, we've got an idea, or we want to, you know, kick off another Spellbreak, they'll get the chance to do that. Doesn't always happen.
I just don't see Spellbreak. I don't see Spellbreak coming back again. Look at the concurrent player list they have now. It's like 100 and some players. It's just not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And neither do I. But I would like them to get a different IP, a chance at another IP.
I can agree with that. Yeah. Hopefully that happens in the future.
But you do have a better chance with Microsoft owning them than not at all. So I do look at that as more of a positive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They may have different plans for them. So yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. And you know, look, you never know. It is illegal for them to dip their hand in the pie, but I'm sure that there's conversations that go backwards and forwards. Let's be honest. I mean, let's be real. And look, our last topic of the day, I'll just move on quickly to the chat first and say, guys, thank you for coming through and thank you for listening. You guys have been absolutely awesome. You guys are awesome and you do power the show. This last topic is to me, awesome. I'm super stoked to hear it, but please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And it looks like we have a release date for Skull and Bones. Which is pretty exciting to me because look, Black Flag is definitely my number one Assassin's Creed game, and the ship-to-ship combat in that. I did hear someone say the other day in space they prefer the ship-to-ship combat in I think it was Odyssey. I don't see how you can cruising around.
I love Black Flag.
Yeah.
Black Flag was spectacular.
It was.
Cruising around
on my list,
with sea shanties going in the background, you know, firing cannons at someone. That just sounds like something I'd be down for. So I'm super excited to hear. I believe that they're talking a November release date. I think it was November 8. So that's good. We don't have much releasing in November at the moment, unless God of War decides to release on the 11th to the 11th, 2022. That would be very interesting. But at the moment, it's pretty quiet for November. I don't think anyone wanted to go up against Starfield. And so seeing that there's games releasing in November is, to me, always a good thing. Doom, are you excited for Skull and Bones? Have you been following this game?
No, I haven't. It's not on my radar at all because all I'm thinking about is Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, but but I will say there is quite the community out there of you guys enjoying being pirates, and yeah, I think you guys will enjoy it.
What is a pirate's favorite letter?
Arr.
No, it be the sea. Look,
Oh, come on. Come on.
I thought it was too obvious. That's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, he's setting me up.
look, to me, this game
But
looks pretty amazing. So, Umbra, are you?
Yeah,
I know you said previously that you weren't excited for this game and it wasn't on your radar, and there were some things about it that you think were lacking. Has your point of view changed at all?
Not at all. I think this game is going to be disastrous if it launches in November in general. I stay by that, and I see other people that are still online saying the same. Just look at it. It's been troubled all this time. That game is not going to come out well. I'm telling you that right now. Even if it's polished well, it's not going to do well. That's just my thought on it.
Bushido, is it something you're going to dip your toes into?
Okay, a couple of things first. One, Alex didn't even have anything to say positive about it. And I'm in a group chat with him, and he didn't have anything positive to say about it. I was like, wow. And he said the same thing that Umber said. He said I could just see this coming out like just a horrific state and all this other stuff. And I was like, wow. I don't really care for the game myself because I got First of all, my 3 is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Origins is number 2, but Black Flag used to be number 1 for the longest until those 2 games came up. The combat on the sea.
Which one's Bushido?
Odyssey, Origins, and then Black Flag. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got to play those 2 still. I'm stuck on Unity, but Black Flag was just
excellent, man.
Yeah,
they are excellent. I have to admit, it changes. The gameplay really changes, but you'll really like it. Odyssey is just long, but it's
skip
worth
Unity and go straight to Origins and Odyssey. They are
skip it, huh?
amazing.
Okay.
They are amazing.
Yeah, Odyssey is really good. I mean, not Odyssey. Origins. Origins was my favorite till Odyssey came out. Yeah. I was like, wow.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Valhalla's my top of the list, and I know a lot of people don't agree.
I'll tell you why, Umbra. The combat basically becomes Dark Souls combat. Or Elden Ring.
Wow.
Combat. It is basically exactly the same as that. The buttons are exactly the same. Yeah, and that's what makes it just so incredibly good to play.
I got to get on it, then. I got to get on it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely.
So, Bushido, are you excited for Skull and Bones, though?
No. Because I can't see me just playing. First of all, the game has been in development for like 7 or 8 years. I forgot. I might be exaggerating, but it's been in development for like ever. And we didn't hear anything for the last 3 years, I think. And now all of a sudden the game's coming out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know Ubisoft on that one. But I thought the combat in the other games were perfect, and I had enough of that combat in the right situations in those games. So I don't think a whole game dedicated to it is going to be something I'm looking forward to. There's another pirate game supposed to be coming out too called Atlas, I think it was.
That's right.
And I was
I forgot about that.
This is more like Ark, but I've actually played the beta of Atlas, and
How was it?
Horrible.
Yeah, that's what you're at. Yeah.
Oh, he said it was horrible.
Wait, did you say horrible? Wow.
Really bad. I actually bought a Nitro server to play that game and paid for my own individual server to play it. And you buy it in pockets. Like, it's not like Ark where if you purchase a server, you can play on the entire map. It's so incredibly bad, Atlas, that I just don't know how they're going to fix it.
Yeah, I hate to see that when it comes to games. I never want to see a game be bad, even if I'm not interested in it. I don't want it to be bad, but sheesh. That's why I prefer if they would have done something like that, if it would have been in the strategy base where turn-based, even though I know a lot of people don't like it, but to me it would have fit more that dynamic better than trying to come out and do the same thing everybody else is doing with Black Flag and not Black Flag, with Skull and Bones already out coming out, and then having your own open world thing. Nah, I just don't see the market being big enough in the pirate game to be enough out there for like 3 or 4 different pirate games.
Johnny, the whole Johnny Depp
Sea of
thing,
Thieves.
that might have, encouraged people to think about pirates a little bit more.
Possible.
I don't know. I could be reaching, but
Because did they have that DLC with Disney with Pirates of the
Yeah,
Caribbean yet? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
so
that's shown that a pirate game can be incredibly successful depending on how
it
it's
does.
implemented.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know,
I feel
I'm
good.
excited. So thanks for sucking my excitement out of the room, guys. I really
Sorry.
appreciate that.
Before we go, I just want to take my W because I don't know who it was. It was one of you guys that thought that this game was never going to come out a few podcasts ago.
That was
so
Umbra.
I just want to say
Umbra.
I'm awesome. And
Umbra.
you
I
guys
just-
don't. That's not an unusual situation. But the reason why this game is still alive, and I'll reiterate what I said in the previous podcast, is it was Singaporean money, the government money, that basically kept this game alive because the game is
Yeah,
being
yeah, I
developed
forgot
there.
about that.
That's why this game is still in existence. Hopefully, it comes out well, but from everything we've heard, they've gone through development hell to get it to this point. In saying that, the combat in Black Flag is awesome, but that's because you can then go on to land and continue on with the story. You're not always in naval combat. So I don't know
Right.
how they're going to get over that issue of, a little bit of the samey combat, or why wouldn't you just go play Black Flag again? I think it would be a good addition to Game Pass, and I think and Ubisoft have done it with instructions, so I wouldn't put it past them doing it for this game.
Yeah,
So hopefully they do that.
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, look. Sorry, Umbra. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think just like Bushido pointed out, the problem with this game is why I always thought it was going to fail to begin with. It's just limited to seafaring battle.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There's no other type of goal for it. I don't think
but
that's going to land itself to anything.
It may have boarding combat. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. So that's possible. If it's got boarding combat, it may have. It does have a bit of a section where you walk around and just collect things, kind of like a player hub, so where you can walk around. I mean, no, that's not a great thing. So, look, I kind of agree with you there, Umbra, but I mean, it will be good for a bash, and if it's in Game Pass, I'll definitely jump on and have a crack at it. And you never know.
Maybe if they put it in Game Pass, maybe that could be a savior. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be it.
It could be a sleeper hit. We don't know.
With me. I actually wanted to try Extraction. I still haven't played that yet.
Yeah, don't worry about that one. You didn't leave it.
It's nothing to rave about.
Yeah, I heard.
It's definitely worth a play. Yeah, I played with Phil Spencer, mate. I'll just say that again.
Here we go.
Yeah, Pete and Phil Spencer are they're best mates.
About 100
We are
times.
best buddies now.
Wait. You played with Phil Spencer?
I did, because I played a game with
He played with somebody called Peel Dispenser.
Yeah,
They go boating on the weekends, play golf now. It's crazy. Yeah, it's good to have a line into Microsoft and hear what's going on. Look, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys, and do the outros. But before I do the outros, chat, you guys have absolutely been fantastic this week. Each week we are growing and growing, and it is all due to you guys. You guys really do power the show, and we appreciate every single one of you. There's just too many of you to mention. But look, I'll mention our moderators who are fantastic. Grey Monad, Timmy. It's Timmy. And even... and all the guys who come in each week and help us out. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Look, I'll move on to outros. Mr. Bushido, you have been an absolutely amazing guest, and as always, are amazing. Your takes are usually pretty good. That last one where you took their side, didn't really like it. But other than that, you've been fantastic, and we appreciate you coming to the show, giving us your time, giving us your takes. So please let the people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, and what you'll be playing for the next couple of weeks.
Well, you can find me on Doomsayer's Den. That's every Friday at 6:30. And I'm also on the Spooky Sprocket Show, and that's every Saturday. For the next couple of weeks, it'll be at 7 instead of 8 because we have Fuzzy and Pong, so they need those hours. So we're gonna open up shop early for them. And outside, and I've also joined the KY Bob Show, and that's every Thursday night at 9:00.
Oh, nice! You joined them officially, huh?
Yeah.
You tricked them, made them think you were me, didn't you? I knew it.
I mean,
I just want to say
No, congratulations, bro.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
KY's a great guy.
He is. Oh, yeah, that's hurt. Yeah, I
know
just want to
she's
say that
going
real
to
quick too.
surgery on
I love
Wednesday. So,
I
yeah.
love Lupa, man. If you've ever played with her one time, you will fall in love with her. She is the sweetest, the funniest person that you'll ever play with. And to top it off, she is a genuine person with no ego. But I'm gonna tell you now, though, she ain't taking no stuff from nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. So don't even
She's
get it twisted.
I'll just sit in the corner over here. That's fine.
Yeah, but she's a sweetie, and I wish her the best. And um, it's a hurt piece because every time you get somebody that's good for the community, you don't have them anymore. So I hope she comes
She's
back and
going
get
into
into it
surgery
more.
on Wednesday, and fingers crossed,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah,
successful because
Yeah.
she's too good a person. And you know what? She's tough as nails. I can see her
Hmm.
coming through this easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm
Prayers
with
up
that.
and all love
I'm
to
with
her and
that.
her family and her husband. And it's crazy because she's genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever come across in the
Hmm.
community.
yeah.
Warm all the time. She was super welcoming to me as soon as I, started checking out Mav's podcast and such. And I've known her since then. That was like a year and a half ago or so. So it's just unfortunate about all of this going on. I'm just hoping for the best for her.
Yeah, look, I was speaking to John, her other half, last night, actually, just as early as last night. And he's positive, and we've all got our fingers crossed that she does pull through. And as you said, I think that she's one of those tough cookies. And so I'm positive and hopeful that she does pull through. And we'll see her again playing Assassin's Creed. Look, Mr. Bushido, I couldn't link every single podcast you're on. That's ridiculous. So look, I linked Spooky's podcast. Get over there, subscribe, check that out. And I'll link KY's when I can find it later on. But I'll go to the panel. Doom Cutie, another amazing show. Thank you for gracing us with your presence every week. You've been amazing. Please let the people know where they can find you and what you'll be up to for the following week, what you'll be playing.
Hey, thanks so much for having me again. It's always I look forward to this every single Saturday. You all make me feel so welcome, and I love hearing your takes. So, yeah, I don't know. You guys make me feel all the warm fuzzies, and the chat, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone so I share on different platforms to some of these guys. So if you have joined me from maybe Instagram or you've seen like on my Twitch or something like that, the link to the podcast, I really appreciate you coming, and I do see you. So, and yeah, I see the little people that have followed me, and yeah, I really thank you for showing up here when you do. This week, this is actually my first week of holidays, and yes, I'm hoping to get into some like really deep, sweaty gaming. I don't know what just yet, but I do need
Gears,
to.
Doomy. It's so good.
Gears,
You'll love it.
really?
Yeah, you'll love it,
Okay.
mate. I mean, I can't highly recommend that game enough.
Okay, well, I'll be having a look. I may be doing some writing. I'm not quite sure. So I've got a couple of things that
I mean,
I will be
although
doing for
if
holidays.
the Marcus Phoenix collection is true, maybe you want to wait for that because that is coming reportedly, or
I don't
remade in
like
Unreal Engine
waiting.
5.
Mhm.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
I feel you on that, Cutie. I'm the same way. I do not like waiting.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for coming to.
Oh, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter.
Yep. I have linked Doomy's Switch in the chat there. So if you guys want to go check it out, please click on the link, head over there, give her a follow, and check her out. I think you stream I know it's a Wednesday. The Wednesdays are the ones that I normally catch.
Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And she's.
That's Tuesday for us though, right, Cutie?
Yeah, it is. Also, I just wanted to announce officially I now have more followers on Twitter than Riskit.
Nice.
It just happened just now.
Once he shows those yams off, he might surpass you though.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not going to be
We'll
shaving
see.
the legs. Guys, keep an eye out on Twitter. If you are following me and following Doomy, you're about to see a very racy photograph with a controller and some fishnets coming my way. And I need to get these likes to win that little competition that we're having. Jedi Knight Peter, again, always great to have you on the show and giving us your hot takes and let people know where they can find you, what you'll be playing for the next week. And yeah.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. Thank you, Bushido, man. Like, just amazing to have you on. I know you do Doomslayers before, and that's why you generally don't. But taking it, getting off early to come join us, it's just so good to have you here, mate. You and Umbra should have gone more head to head. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of that, but yeah.
Well, he copies me so
He
much.
realized. He
Yeah,
realized that I was
makes it hard.
the superior clone, so he just let it go.
Doomy, Riskit, as always, you guys are great. You can find me, and I got it in my new phone, so my Twitter's working at Jedi Knight Peter, at Xbox at Jedi Knight Peter, and everybody, right after the podcast, we are having an Among Us party. Please join us. Everybody is welcome. The more, the merrier.
Absolutely. Among Us is an awesome game. We played it a couple of weeks ago. And Gang Beasts, that was a great community games night. Everyone,
we had a good time.
Yeah, everyone
had a good time with that one.
Accusing each other of lying, and then we played Gang Beasts, trying to throw each other off the edge. It was a great time. Probably one of the best community game nights I've ever attended. Don't get to attend as many as I would like. Umbra, fantastic. Thank you again for gracing us with your presence every week. And congratulations on being a permanent, becoming a new member of Boom's Xbox Factor. Awesome to see, mate. Your success is our success. And I'm always happy for anyone I know to succeed. I love to see it. It's a great thing. And we're all super happy for you, mate. Please let the people know where they could find you, what you're up to. And I guess I better link the Xbox Factor podcast in the chat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to give a thanks to all of you all for the support. And, Risk, you gave some nice words when I told you about the situation. I really appreciate that, brother. And Pete and Q to you guys, thank you for the support as well. For the Xbox Factor.
You're a traitor.
But just wanted to say, to everybody in the chat and everybody else who supports me on Twitter and such, I appreciate you guys very much. So, the community night, one thing I do want to say as far as that goes, we did have a ball last week, and I think we're going to have one tonight. But what we need to really figure out is how to get 60 players in Fall Guys for a custom game.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I saw you bought the Master Chief outfit.
Yes, I did. I could not resist. I tried so hard to resist. I was like, nope, I'm buying it. As soon as I saw somebody with it, I'm like, yep.
There is a Game Pass perk going around at the moment where you get to be a robot rabbit. So pick that up, guys. If you get Game Pass Ultimate perks. Yep.
Yeah, get your perk out of that for that, by the way. But you all can find me, of course, on under Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on Twitter, Super Havoc on Xbox, and Super_Havoc on PlayStation. And of course, I'll be joining the Xbox Factor podcast on Wednesdays. You all come and support like you always do. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. And for myself, what I'll be playing this week is I think I'm going to finish off Sniper Elite. I'm halfway through, or a little bit more than halfway through Chorus. I recommend that game. I can't recommend it highly enough. The X Factor podcast is linked in the description, as is Umbra's Twitter, linked in the description. Please head there, give them a like, give them a follow, check it out if you haven't already. If you haven't already hit the like button, please do hit that like button, subscribe. And look, as far as it goes from me with the channel, I've been doing a bit of thinking, a bit of soul searching in the background because I haven't released many videos lately and I'm very short on time. I have got something in the works that I will be doing every week, so stay tuned for that. You can check that out here. You can find me on Twitter warring with anyone who has a stupid take, because I love that kind of thing. And I can't stay away from it. It's unfortunate. It's like a drug. And guys in the chat, you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for checking out the show. And we'll see you all next week.
Later, everyone.
Later, guys.